Welcome to Jude, the podcast. I am David Jude, and I'm your host for the show. Thank you so much for listening in, spending some time with us. And again, thank you for all the downloads and shares and listens that we've received. Thank you so much for it. Hey, listen, not too long ago, we did a Q&A show where we featured a local band here called Octalux, and we featured some of their music. Well, listen, let's learn a little bit more about the band and how they go about creating music. Their creator and lead singer and songwriter reached out to us and said, why don't we do a bigger show on the band? I said, man, that's great. We want to do some music series on this show. And so Octalux is kicking it off with us. So listen in as Hurley describes the band's process for writing lyrics, creating riffs, and creating music, and their process of recording, because every band does it differently. Every artist does it differently, including Octalux. Anyway, fascinating show to hear their processes, to hear how they go about creating art. By the way, that's the theme music leading us into the show. Be sure to check out their new album, which is what we focus on this show. It's called Amen to Oblivion, and you can find it anywhere that you download your music. Take a listen. Be sure to check out our show sponsors. They've been great for us. In our show notes, we'll have some discount codes for you. We appreciate every share, every download, every listen. Thank you for helping us get this show going. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get to Hurley with Octalux. Enjoy the show. We're on, man. Thanks for being here with us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah. It's a good time.
It's going to be. It's guarantee it's going to be.
It's going to be something, right?
Yes, it usually is.
Yeah. So I was glad that you commented on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
The favorite Octalux song.
Well, I ask everybody that.
Yeah.
Just to be obnoxious. They're like, what's your favorite brand of shoes? What's your favorite Octalux song?
Yeah. I wouldn't have known off the top of my head, though.
No. I couldn't name mine. So. I can name a few I don't like, but that's beside the point.
Yeah. So we got to feature it on.
I know. I heard that. I was so happy. You were so kind.
It took a while. We had to practice. We had to write down notes.
That's all right. Everybody's got to practice being nice. And it broke my heart because you said, I've always wanted to record a song and an album. I never got to. I was like,
yeah,
this poor man.
Yeah.
How has he never done that? I was like really tore up about that. I was like,
I really still haven't.
Well, do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, not yeah. Just do it.
I got to find the time to do it. So,
oh Lord.
So in a band that David and I were in,
mm-hmm.
I guess that's probably 25 years ago. No, we just did the 20 years, so 23 years ago, something like that.
Oh, that was
yep,
not Divide and Conquer. It was
Wild Ride.
Yeah, that one.
That's
I knew it had a D in it somewhere.
Yeah, I think there is one in there. We did like a little 5-song demo.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
Phil,
you have. So you totally
kind of, but
with Phil Weisenberger?
No, Phil Osborne. Back in Nicholasville on the drag strip. If you remember, he had a little studio way.
Was that Wild Angel Fire?
Okay, sounds good. It was one of those things like, can you be over here, this night at this time? And
Phil.
So we did.
I like Phil. He sets up my guitar sometimes.
Yeah, I get him to do mine too. So yeah, we did something there.
I mostly like to make him. We just make jokes.
Yeah,
because he's like, "You're an idiot." I'm like, "I know." That's our dynamic.
That's right. And then we were in another project together called Distant Theory.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
See, Divide and Conquer, Distant Theory. It basically rhymes.
They're all the same. Yeah, it's got D's in it, like you said.
That's right. See,
but that was already recorded by the time I got there. And then, so my MO, I guess, is I'll play for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
I'll set everything down and away for 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm. That's horrible.
It is horrible. And then, of course, it never gets out of your system. It's like a drug. It's
right.
It never goes away. And so it takes a little bit
quit using
for me to relapse. Yeah, time is the thing that kills me. So
we all have time and money for the things we really want.
Yeah. Yeah. Time and money is what I really want.
Well, then give up music and your goal.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me. And then,
thank you for having me on. The guys were going to come, but it was so last minute when I asked them. They're like, well, I'd love to go, but
yeah, they've been cool.
Oh, yeah.
we'll do it again. Because I was like, I'm not sure how the hell we're going to get a band in this little room. And
we've played smaller stages.
Yeah. I can just imagine, a full-size drum kit or something rolling in here for an acoustic moment.
No, Chase would bring his cajon, that box thing.
That'd have been cool.
Drummers use. I don't know if it's cajon or cajon or it's a box thing that Chase sits on and makes music.
Yeah, no D's in that one. There's a J.
There is a silent J.
Yeah, maybe that's the whole.
That's right.
That's the whole dilemma that you were discussing.
That language is funny.
Yeah, English are hard.
English are hard. Welcome to Education with Jude, the podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
Today we're talking about syntax.
Yeah. So
I don't know if that's the right word. It just sounded like
it's
English.
Perfect. Yeah. So tell me about Octalux. Tell me, this has been around for a while.
Do you want the entire story or just recent story?
No, let's go back.
You're sure?
Well, I'm sure now.
That question will eat up the entire 3 hours.
Phew. Can I reserve the right to jump in there? So, okay, let's move past 1988.
There was no Octalux or anything in 1988.
Thank God. I mean, no, please tell me about it.
Okay. I'm going to try to condense because I don't want to solely tell this story. But the year is so it's 93. My friend Greg knew that I was playing guitar, and he was with his friend Rocky. And Rocky, he called me on the phone, and he said, because I guess I'd recorded somehow magically and a riff that I'd sometime in the past played for Greg. And Greg and Rocky used to, can I cuss on here?
Oh, yeah, you can say anything you want.
Dick around in like parks and stuff, and like, we've got songs. Anyway, and so he's on the phone, and I hear him, he says, play that for Rocky. So they asked me to come over, and so I eventually make my way over. And Greg this is my very first band, which leads to Octalux.
Sure.
So Greg was like, see, Rocky, I told you we need to get Hurley to write songs for us. Never written a song in my life. I had this one little riff that I can't even remember what it was. And Rocky's like, yeah. So I became the songwriter.
You know the saying, right? A man can build 1,000 bridges in his life, right?
Mm-hmm.
You write one riff.
And Greg was super talented.
Modifying the
Greg
statement
was
a little
in
bit.
choir. Greg could play guitar. So I don't know what the problem was because he could write songs too. I'm like, all right. So we dicked around for a while. And then we got Charles. And Charles was our drummer. Okay. And we are like, we're going to be called Dark 30 because I don't know why, but that's why. And I wrote more of the dark side, quote unquote, Greg used to say. And Greg wrote more of they weren't folks. They were very Neil Youngy type rocker, hey, my type gig thing. So it kind of really meshed. And I always wanted to be Kiss, and he did not. But
that's what Dark 30 was that?
Yeah.
What would you call it? Americana rock or?
No. It's on there. It's on the tube. Actually, go to reverb.com. If you want to hear it.
Yeah. If you want to play it.
But anyway, so we get Charles, and we're playing, and we're playing, and we're playing. We'd play for hours and hours and hours and hours, and we'd rehearse, and we'd hours and hours, and we got this chance to record an album. Now, knowing your background and knowing that I'm going to skip part of this story, we got a chance, that's all I'm going to say, to record an album that we didn't have to pay for. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
From somebody that I do not know. It was magic. So we go in and we record this album, and it's called In the Machine. Greg named it, whatever. And I sang and Greg sang, and I couldn't sing worth a piece of crap, and I really probably still can't. Anyway, and we just played and played and played and played. Well, when that happened, after that happened, as we're waiting on the album to come back so we can have copies of it to sell our friends, Rocky is in a car wreck and dies. And that was my very first taste of death. As somebody I knew that was my age. I mean, old people die.
Right.
And this is, it's Reverb Nation, because I can't remember where songs are. Anyway, so skipping ahead, we dedicate that album to Rocky, and we play and we play, and we got this little fan base, and we get Hank in, and we record a second album called God's Favorite Band because we did.
Because nobody can prove you
Right.
Prove any
And then
different
D30. Anyway, and eventually Hank, from what I remember, what I understand, his ex got pregnant, even though she couldn't get pregnant. I don't know how that happened,
Right.
but it was his. And then Greg and me and Charles wanted to move to California, and Greg didn't want to. And then so Greg kind of dropped off, and Hank kind of dropped off, and it was me and Charles got his brother played guitar, and we got this other guy, and then me and the other guy got in a fight, and he gave me a pretty good shiner. Anyway, so that guy left, another guy came in, and it became it became Star. Oh, Star, because, Kiss.
Yes.
Right? So Dark 30 was gone. We were still playing Dark 30 songs, and I was now the main songwriter. Not that we ever lost friendships. It was just aiming a different way. So we record an album with Star, and everybody loves it. And then 2 weeks after we get done recording it, after everybody loves it, the guitar player is like, there's too much love on the album. I quit. So here I am, and he took his brother.
Sounds like a guitar player.
And the other, and then so the other guy left. So it was just me and this. So I decided to go F those guys. I'll call it Mr. Me.
Yeah.
Dumbest name in history, but it was, and it's in the liner notes. Mr. Me is me, and Mr. Them is, and I named all four of them because I'm petty. Anyway, so I wanted something.
Spoken like a singer.
That anyway, I wanted something like Superfuzz, because I discovered Superfuzz. They were huge here in Lexington. And so me and my friend Steve, who I'm assuming still works at Rupp Arena, he was bass player, totally laid back, totally not into what I was doing, but good friend. And, so we got drunk one night, and I was trying to come up with a band name because I knew Mr. Me sucked, but it had served its purpose. Blah, 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 blah. I swear to God, this story kind of gets to an actual point.
Oh, okay.
And you're like, no, it doesn't. I feel like I'm being interrogated by a cop. That's what happened. No, none of that happened. You're a liar. And we have video evidence. It's in fingerprints, blood. Anyway, so long story short, I woke up one night after we had been drinking all night, and Octalux was written on a piece of paper. I don't know. I thought he thought of it. He thought I thought of it. That sounds like Superfuzz in my mind, because phonically it kind of does.
Right.
But Superfuzz rolls off the tongue, and Octalux is like it's German. So, ta-da. And then Steve leaves, and then Lance comes in, and this, that, and the other. Blah, 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 blah. And then we record an album, and we play, and then I got to work with, because some people left then, so I got two other people, and me and Lance and these other two people, Chad and Steve. No, it was Tron. Tron was before that. And then anyway, we wound up recording with Dave Engstrom, who was in Superfuzz in Atlanta, for A World of Hurt, which is an EP. It was his idea to follow up From the Plan of Love, the first Octalux album. Now, the Mr. Me album, I have since gone back and just kind of dubbed Octalux, because that's what it was, because I did everything. Not everything. That's a lie. But I did a lot of stuff on it. Anyway, so then they flake out or whatever, and then it's 2004. Oh, yeah, that's important. So I see this post on like Lexington Music dot whatever message board, and there's some dude, and he's a drummer, right? So I send him a message like, I'm a guitar player, and we agreed to meet at the mall, at Fayette Mall. And at the time, I was selling roasted nuts. Funny side story about that, but that'll come later. Anyway, so he comes down there, and
hot nuts.
That was me. Anyway,
get your hot nuts.
I can get your hot nuts. Right. I hated that job. I got in trouble because it was cold, so I would just go in the hallway and smoke. Wrong thing to do. Anyway, so turns out this guy is Chase Gabbard, right? And Chase and I just kind of hit it off, and we're like, this is weird. And he liked the songs I had. And I had already started recording a whole other album just with a little drum machine. And my friend had a little recorder thing. And I had it all structured out. And Chase was like, that's a bunch of hooey. And this is how it should go. And I was like, holy God, this sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And then we got his friend Ryan, and then my old acquaintance Dustin. We were all friends. I don't want to say nobody was friends. And we played my God, we played like 80 something shows in 2 years.
Wow.
Behind Loud, Fast, and Awesome. And it won some award, like Z-Rock, some sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
now all that's local, 80 shows around here.
It was Chicago and West Virginia and Tennessee and Indiana and Ohio and just here in Louisville and just you name it, we played it.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And we got to the point where, we didn't know what day of the week it was. We didn't rehearse because we didn't have to.
Right.
We didn't unload the gear because what's the point? Because we're getting ready to leave again. It was great. And then Ryan fell in love.
We've all left that one alone. It got you say the L word, and we all got silent.
I want to be delicate because it wasn't all Ryan's fault. It was not because maybe
it usually takes 50-50 there.
Well, this is more of a maybe I should have not with the love of his life, but in my defense, he said it was okay. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's a whole different show.
Right, because he didn't take it that seriously. And after I did, then he fell in love with her, in love. But that's beside the point. Water under the bridge. So eventually he gets all mad and he quits and Chase quits. So there I am again without a band. I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
And then one morning I wake up in my bedroom and who's there?
Chase
Gabbard. I want to be friends. Can we do this? Yeah. God, yeah, I love you. Not because you're a drummer. I love you because I love you.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. And I want to be friends. And because, we were for a period where all of us talked every day for 3 years to radio silence.
Right. But don't you think that goes with the band, though?
Yeah, I guess. And then ever since then, Chase has, done other projects and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then, we did Loud, Fast, and Awesome. He wasn't available to do that, but then he came in and we played a bunch of shows. That's when David was in the band.
Mm-hmm.
And then from here we go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention anybody, but it rhymes with Avidite. Anyway, so this is what happened.
I'll have to write that down because I have to figure that one out.
Right. It's a mystery wrapped in an enigma. Anyway, so there was one song that was going to be, because how I write songs or albums, how I approach albums, because I'm an albums guy. I'm not a singles guy. But I'll write a song, I'm like, this is good. The other 15 I wrote are crap, but this one's good. And I'll build around that one. Well, he didn't
build the album around it.
Yeah. And he didn't like the hub.
Yeah.
So on an aside, I was like, well, I'll just go record it without him. And just to show him how awesome it is.
Yep.
And that turned into a whole other album from Drusilla, which is my mom's middle name, which is really just another Octalux album because I did all the stuff on that.
Is that your mom's middle name?
Yes.
That's awesome.
And ironically, that song is the one everybody likes off of it. Told you. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and David and I were just having a lot of musical differences. Right. And I never disliked him, but I'm like, God, he's hard-headed, pig-headed. And I'm sure he was like, God, Hurley's the nicest guy ever. And how can I be so pig-headed? I'm sure that's how that went
That's
down.
all I've ever heard from that person.
But we agreed to kind of go separate ways. And he wanted some riff. And I'm like, well, you get this other riff. Let's trade riffs or some nonsense. So, ta-da, we get to Atomic, which is 20 whatever. And those songs were what me and Chase and Fight had done with, and some of that was Ryan, because I pulled in all kinds of parts from everywhere to make this album. And we got back together with Tony Del Orfano. It is Italian. I call him Il Fumo, which is Italian for the smoke. Right? So Tony comes in. Tony is a godsend, not because he's a magical guitar player, because he's just that guy. Yeah. He's just like, okay, I can take this crap that you have and make it wonderful. And he's down to earth, and he's nice, and he's kind, and he's stupid smart. It's ridiculous. It makes you feel like a moron. But that's just me. Maybe I'm a moron. That's clearly not
people
it.
Like that, though. I mean,
yeah.
I want to be the lowest performer in the room.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Tony's going in the studio with that guy, the most frustrating thing in the world. Because I'm like, push record, let's go. And he's like, hang on, I need 3 hours to dial in the perfect. And he's not 3 hours,
right?
Like that, but he's that guy. He knows what he wants, and you'll sit there and like it because once he gets what he wants, it is pure audio heroin.
El Fumo has spoken.
El Fumo has spoken, so I've just learned to shut my mouth and let the magic happen.
Let the smoke happen.
Right? And so there's me and Chase and Tony, and Clint comes in. And Clint, my God, this guy, I swear to God, I don't understand him. He's good looking. He's athletic. He's kind. He's almost as good a guitar player, if not better, if not equal to. I don't know. I don't judge guitar players. As Tony, and he's over there playing bass, and I'm like, what? How? And he's just smiling, and he's not naive, but he's just not, he doesn't think like me, because me and Chase and Tony were like, you get that? And he's like, no, but he's not naive. He's just a nice person.
Yeah.
Which is, rock and roll. You don't always meet the nicest people, as in not, I don't know, I don't want to say not nice, but
no, I get it.
On the got a darker shade of humor. Clint's not got that. I mean, Clint's just
a good dude,
right? So then there it is. We have Chase, the perfect soundboard. What do you think of this? That's crap. Okay, and he's right. He's only been wrong once, and I never let him forget it. But. And then you have Tony going, I can take I see what you're doing, but I can take it way better than you ever thought. And then there's Clint coming in to go, you know what this song needs? A little salt and pepper. Boom. I'm like, how did I get so lucky? I'm so blessed. And I could barely play guitar. Let's be real. I'm not talented. I can dick around, but that's beside the point. So then, blah, 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 blah. We're up to current day. We did Noise in the Blood. And then the pandemic happened. Or the plandemic, because that's what the government wanted. Anyway, those people. And Taylor Swift's a psyop and whatever. Right. Anyway, you hear things. You've been online. It's a crazy place. Anyway, so I'm just dicking around like, well, here's Quarantine Song 1. And that's turned into 250 ideas on my phone. So after everybody was allowed to, after the 14 and only 14 days were expired, right, Chase came over, right, and Chase needed to live with me for a little bit. So I was like, Chase, let's narrow down these 200 and whatever song ideas I have. So we sat there, play, crap, play, crap, play. It's all right, play, crap. We did this for 3 days, and I was sitting there typing. I was like, all right, he likes Q93. He likes Q121. Maybe could do something with Q85, something like that. So we use none of them.
Of course.
Yeah. So here's the interesting story of, do you guys want to talk? Because I've just been rambling.
Well, do you want to play a song? You want to hear, you want to focus on one of these songs, or you want to come back to this here in a second?
Let's focus on No. Thrum off the new album. And there's a reason.
Okay.
All right. So Thrum. It's on Amen to Oblivion. Came out in 2023. It's second to the last song. It's right there where it says Thrum. I got the look. I'm just being a jerk. I'm just playing around. Sorry. Well,
Yeah.
It sounds amazing. It's the sound of silence. We're all staring intently at the screen.
Mm-hmm. We got a big solo coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get to the solo.
Oh, more than fine. Welcome to the smoke. Beautiful.
I dig it, man. It's a good tune.
Oh, dude. So the reason that's the start of the album. Notice it's track 9.
Yeah.
Notice we use none on the phone. So the reason, if you remember way back in the glom of Mr. Me star,
Yeah.
there's a song that I really liked. Chase couldn't play a show 2019, so our buddy Lane, who sometimes fills in for him, was going to play. Right? So I was like, hey, I haven't got to play this song forever, and I really, really like it. It's pretty easy. Lane can learn it. Tony's awesome. He'll learn it, whatever. So I was like, hey, guys, why don't we play this song? And Tony's like, let's not throw anything new in. Let's not do that. And I was like, okay. Anyway, so flash forward. 2020 happens. Metallica puts out this acoustic cover of Blackened, which is the best Metallica song, hands down, period. Other than the Four Horsemen, that's the only other one that's in contention. That's beside the point. And I'm like, that's so cool. You know what would sound cool? So in the middle of this song called Svelte, I'm not going to play all of it. There's this part that goes. Actually, it goes like this. That's the part. Right? And I was like, what if it went? I only took one note out, right?
Yeah.
So I call Phil. I call Phil Weisenberg. Phil, I got to record this. Right? Well, we can do it. So I go up there and I record it, and it's all acoustic, and I throw it in. I'm like, yeah, that sucks. I hate it. But I thought, hey, it's a start. I'll have Chase come play drums on it.
Yeah.
So whatever, schedule's arranged. So Chase is like, okay. Well, as it turns out, because Charles, the drummer in Dark 30, which was also in Star with me, in 2005, he had an ATV wreck and has been quadriplegic ever since.
Mm.
And as magical as he is, by the way, in 2013, because he has very, very, very limited use of his hands, he programmed a double album on one beat at a time on a computer.
Wow.
And we put out it like a reunion pseudo album.
Yeah.
I mean, if I didn't tell you that, you'd never know he wasn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's beside the point. So here's Svelte, and I just didn't like what Chase played on it, and I didn't have the heart to tell it, right? But it wasn't that anything Chase played was bad. It just wasn't Charles, and I was so married to that because I have so many special memories with Charles.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? We don't really have a reason to re-record the song, so whatever. But then Chase's schedule got super busy, and I was like, well, I got this drum line. I just don't happen to like it for Svelte. What if I wrote an entire song around a drum part? That's where Thrum came from. And I'm like, am I half-assing this? Does this sound stupid or is this good? Total dumb luck. So I built that entire song around Chase drumming to Svelte, and I was like, all right, I have to follow Chase here. How is this going to work? And that came in, and at the very end of that song, there's this chugging part, which is just like Metal Gods, Judas Priest.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, wait a second. Magic, right? So I went on to when I would sit around at home, because we were still on lockdown and everything, and I was like, if I recorded something I liked, I would send it to the guys, and if they all said they liked it, Phil, I got an idea. So we recorded this entire album backwards. There was not a drum on it. I mean, for the most part, before all the guitars and bass, not all the guitars, but the rhythm, the vocals, and the bass was done. And then Chase would come in, and he's like, and so in my, it's all boom, snap, boom, snap, boom, snap, boom, snap, you know. So in my mind, like, this sounds like, you know, early David Bowie. This sounds like the Beatles or what, I don't know. And Chase just comes in and is like, guess what? I'm here. And I'm like this whole other level. Like if you just play the very first two notes or the first note of Outside the Universe. I mean, you don't even have to play it past the first this. When the drums come in. This. Just that pause, that because I wanted it, and Chase extended it just a little bit, and because he heard something totally different that I'd never heard it, and I was like, that's the coolest thing we've ever done in my life. This is my favorite song ever. And
isn't that cool though that just I mean, it's a millisecond that you're talking about, right? But that millisecond pause creates such drama and effect in that song
for sure.
And so I mean that we just heard 5 seconds of it, but that pop catches you.
Because I was thinking like 1950s bop, you know.
Yeah.
And Chase is like hammered, Motley Crue 94. Here we go.
Yeah.
What? Dude. And the whole thing with the whole album, if you cared enough to pay attention, there are so many nods to other artists and things that me and Chase and Tony and Clint grew up on, just intermixed with all that. That's the reason there's 9 songs on the album, because old albums only had 8 or 9 songs.
Yeah.
The intro to Writhe, you know, that's a nod back to Motley Crue and Shout at the Devil. The actual Writhe riff, which actually was one of the phone songs, so I lied.
The one did make it.
Right, but Chase has always loved this song called I from Black Sabbath, which came out in whatever year, and he's like, we need to write a song like that, and he said it forever. So I was just dicking around one day. I was like, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
So if I tell him it sounds like it, it'll sound like it. And Chase never falls for that. But he liked it. And I was like, hey. And it wound up becoming, and you mentioned this last on some podcast I listened to you on, that you said you like Spanish guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And that song starts with this out-of-tune Spanish guitar. And that was a battle. Solely because we're in the studio and Phil's doing some nonsense, making things sound good or whatever. Right. I'm like ready to go. And he's got this old Spanish guitar. And here's Tony going, I'm super talented, better than everybody, tequila. He's never said that before in his life. But he's all like, boo-doo-doo-doo, boo-doo-doo. I'm like, what's that?
We are so glad to have Ugly Tent as a sponsor to the show. My longtime friend Kenny Dietrich is a subject matter expert in modern survival, bushcrafting, and preparedness. As he challenges on the show, be prepared for the disaster most likely to happen to you. But let me tell you, Ugly Tent is so much more than just disaster preparedness. You need to check out the website at uglytent.com. That's UGLYTENT.com for a complete list of their products, their classes, and all the services that Kenny offers. There's a lot that I think you'll find interesting at uglytent.com. Again, just a neat place to go. So whether it's for camping, maybe it's a hike, maybe it's just trying to be in the outdoors for a little bit, uglytent.com is filled with the products and the services that you want. Not to mention you have a true expert as a resource for you. Listen, while you're there, use the promo code JUDE, that's lowercase JUDE, and that code will get you 10% off your total purchase. That's a pretty good deal for some really cool stuff. Anyway, check out Kenny at uglytent.com.
And he's like, I don't know. I was like, play it again.
Play it again, yeah.
Play it again, push record, Phil. Which is how that came about. And then there was months long of him going, man, I got to re-record that. Thing's out of tune. I'm like, no, it's creepy.
Yeah, that's what makes it.
It's creepy. That's what makes it. Please, God, no. And he's like, no, I can't be represented like that. I was like, you got to came out. So Phil kind of cleaned it up a smidge. And then so even in the intro, the guy talking is a nod back. That's Greg, the lead singer from Dark 30, who did a voiceover thing reading Matthew 16. It's before Chromosome, the original version on the first Octalux album. But I was like, hey, if I'm having all these throwbacks, I need this Motley Crue thing in the beginning. Hey, I'll just write something. So I texted him, and I was like, hey, send me a voicemail, you reading this. He sent me 3 different ones.
Yeah.
All mispronouncing amen. Because he kept saying amen. I'm like, learn to read. But I said, hey, do this again with amen, not amen. So he did it 3 times in a row. And I was like, Phil, this has got to go on here somewhere. And
he made it work.
He made it work. And
kind of a throwback to Iron Maiden, right? Number of the Beast, whatever.
Yep.
Vincent Price, that big opening. Yeah.
Yeah, except we have Greg Moore.
That's same, right?
Right, but that's just a throwback to Octalux, which influenced future Octalux. Buzz Up Some Heavy Smoke is some nonsense, because if you go to Sneak Attack Studios with Jason Groves in the bathroom, there's all these stupid little magnets of just random words. And I think when me and Fight were actually in there, I made up Buzz Up Some Heavy Smoke because I was peeing and trying to make a thing. And I remember taking a picture of it because I was like, oh, this is Buzz Up Some Heavy Smoke. And anyway, so it popped up in my time hop, and I'm like, well, Fast Jam isn't the best song title. We'll call it Buzz Up Some Heavy Smoke. That's where that came from.
Yeah.
Outside the Universe is. So if you think about it, if we're going to get into quantum physics, because here we go. I don't know anything about quantum physics. As an expert in quantum physics, like I am, if there is a limit to the universe, what's outside of that?
Right.
Right. And
is it white?
I don't know. And even if your universe is small, if we're not talking about the actual universe, we're talking about like when you're a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It's you, your next door neighbor, best friend, the tree out back, and you guys play action figures or video games or hide and seek. That's your entire universe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And as you get older, it expands. You date and you go to college and you move away, and that's what happens in real life, boys and girls.
Yeah.
But you expand your universe. But once you step outside, that initial step outside the universe of the backyard with your best friend in the tree, that's when you start learning things.
So you've thrown a lot at us.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's all great. I just hope I can back up and things
please.
You've said of like, man, we got to come back to that. Yeah, but to those that that will listen to this and they're not musicians and they don't do these type of things,
right?
Talk about talk about the anatomy of a song, and you've kind of done that by saying, you put hundreds of riffs on your phone. You guys went through it, and then all these throwback pieces that are coming in. But when you're sitting here doing this, I mean, what's the anatomy of a song look like to you?
So the anatomy of a song, to me, I'm a songwriter. Okay, Tony is a musician. Chase is a musician. Now that doesn't mean they can't write a song, but I'm not a musician. I'm a songwriter. Right. So songwriting can be, John Patchouli. You thought I was going to play something because you heard the guitar. I can't do that. But, that's no, Hank Williams Sr., good. Is it G or C? Goodbye, Joe. Me gotta go. Me oh my oh. Yep. That's C and G. That's telling a story. Now, I'm not the greatest storyteller, but I'm a good poet. So as a good poet, I don't want people to be able to go, he's talking about Julie. He loves Julie. Isn't that a quaint song? I want them to figure out I'm talking about Julie and I love Julie. By the way, there's no Julie. But I want to give them a landscape so their imagination can take over.
Right.
Because imagination leads you to problem solving, to lead you to not feeling trapped. Because you're like, well, that didn't work, but maybe something else will. Anyway, so the anatomy of a song, to me, is the riff. Now, every song doesn't have to have a riff. A riff, the riff everybody knows. Or
yeah.
Everybody knows. I can't play the other part.
Right.
But I don't know. But everybody knows that. And it doesn't have to be complicated.
Right.
And so for anybody who's not a musician or wants to be a musician, one, stop listening to people. Because that's how I did it. Because I was trying to learn with tabs. I was a big Kiss fan. Their stuff's not complicated. But at the time I was trying to learn it, it was beyond my skill level. Right?
Right.
So I figured if I just play songs I write at my skill level, they won't suck. So I just started writing my own songs. I can still.
I like your logic.
I can just, hey, it worked for me. But, I can't really play other people's songs, simple little things, but like Deuce is one of my favorite Kiss songs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know the riff, that, but I can't do the.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I could figure it out.
Old Jim was working hard.
But, that's not exactly rocket science.
Yeah.
But for somebody that doesn't play, you're like, oh my God. And so the essence of a song is, does it convey emotion? That's what I necessarily don't like about a lot of music. Not because the music itself is not good or the riff isn't good or the solo isn't good. Mostly it's the production quality and the lyrical content. Because don't tell me you're an ex-cop.
Yeah.
Okay. You know who to look out for. And it's not the guy coming in telling you, I'm a badass, I'm going to kill you,
right.
This, that, and it. It's the quiet guy over there in the corner that hasn't said a word all day.
Right.
I want the music to convey that emotion. I don't want to tell you.
But how do you pull that out? So how
feel sad because I'm sad. Well, that's okay. We get it. But if, like, there's a song on the album, No Apologies for Broken Hearts, How do you go? But the first line of that is boil inside a cauldron of emotion.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think I was feeling? Happy? Boiling, that's hot. Inside of it means I'm hot. A cauldron is hot emotion. So I'm either pissed off or I'm really sad. And since the song starts off, does that sound pissed off? Right? So your chord progression and how you're playing it, because I could easily have gone, boil inside a cauldron of emotion, right?
And so do you start with the riff or do you start with the poetry that you're talking about, or both? Or do you have a collection of both and you just got to marry them up?
I have a collection of both, but it really depends. Like sometimes I'll think of a line and I'm somewhere and I'll just keep repeating it and if I'm in the car, because I would never text and drive. I shouldn't do that, but I do that. I shouldn't do that. But be safe, kids. Always do it at stoplights or go to a parking lot. Anyway, for real, even though I've been joking a lot, do that. Protect your own life. Anyway, so I will either go flesh out a whole thing of lyrics and then try to either I already have something I'm working on or I've got some nonsense on my phone that'll play through my car, and I'll be like, I'm a woman, I do my job, or whatever, until I can get something.
So do you find yourself in a position, right, that let's go back to the cauldron of hot oil.
Cauldron of hot. Cauldron of hot.
So, so that's, it has, I guess minor chords, undertone, whatever. It pulls out that emotion,
sure.
to it, right? And so would you take that and would you finish out? I hear the emotion, right? And I'm connected to that.
That's what I want people to get.
Sure.
I don't care if you can go do.
But would you write that in pieces, or because you almost have to be in that emotion to pull out that emotion?
No, that one particularly. I had that lyric forever, but the piece of music, I was like, oh, well, that might be with it. But
so you'll write it and shelf it until you find something that comes back to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then sometimes with Thrum, how many songs is that in?
Yeah.
So, but again, Tony comes in and was like, wow. Or whatever the hell he plays, I
always find it amazing. There's only 8 notes, right?
Right.
And all this music that exists from the beginning of time is down to about 8 notes, regardless of the genre that you're listening to. It still comes down to 8 notes.
For sure. Yeah. So if I can like I said, what's the first line of Thrum? Dendrites. Is it dendrites? It's parts of the brain. Dendrites. And then it goes to this A, psychology. That's a very dissonant chord.
Yep.
In which gets your attention.
It did.
Tonyism. And then it's already built up, and the chorus, beginning to crumble into ashes, coming undone, feeling like I never will be, climbing. I can't remember the words. And takes it right back down.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're taking the listener on a ride and they're listening, that song is all about how your brain works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So big brains, dendrites.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. I don't pay attention to any lyrics. I never have. I just know.
But you should, because that's where the secrets are kept.
Maybe. I get that. And I can't argue that because that's truly where the secrets are kept. Right. But I connect to it because like that A chord you talked about, when you go up to that brings out that brings out some really cool shit in that song, right? And it moves you from this riff into this.
When Clint,
what is that?
Clint told me one time, he's like, "Oh yeah, you moved to the A blah 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 blah, blah major blah blah. That's something Bach used to do." I'm like,
"Oh yeah." He probably knew him as Johann. Was it Johann?
He probably did. I don't know. Johann Sebastian.
Yeah, I think that's right.
But that's just the quality of
Joe,
the person I get to be around. Yeah. For they can hear it, because I can just be like, "Hey, I got a song," and they're like, "All right, let's take Special Monkey here and make his ideas come true, because they're not half bad ideas." So that's the beauty of being in the wonderful position that I've been blessed to be in. But so back to the construction of a song. So does it need this part? Does it need that part? If it doesn't, why is it in there? Is it in there because you can play it? Is it in there to break up something?
But what do you answer that to? Do you answer it?
I
get into it's a feeling.
Oh yeah, for sure. If it conveys the feeling, like all it cost was me. When I say all it cost was me, what does it make you think
of? A significant loss and
significant loss.
Yeah,
right. There's nothing to that song.
So you're thinking about hiring a private investigator, huh? Think knowledge, experience, and trust? Think DPJ Consulting. Listen, we're the folks you want on your team. Whether it's a criminal matter, corporate, or administrative issue, or maybe something more personal, you need to make the right choice for you. Our house of expertise at DPJ Consulting can help you with investigations, and that can mean a whole lot of different things. Pre-employment background checks, personal VIP security, and so much more. Check us out at dpjconsulting.com. Follow us on all of our social media platforms, or give us a call at 855-TEAM-DPJ. That's 855-TEAM-DPJ. Give us a call. It costs nothing to talk. It costs you everything if we don't.
It's on the new album, by the way. The cost was being an empire of dreams and everything and counting. You know, it goes to the chorus, but the part when Chase played that, because that, you know, you'd think he's going to pick up on the chorus, right? You know?
Yeah.
And so we get, you'd think Chase plays this halftime part right there. And I'm like, what's that? In the second half of the chorus, he kicks it in, and it wasn't anything thought out. Chase and I just have this wonderful, he knows what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And he also knows what I'm thinking is dumb sometimes. So,
but you need that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just have learned to go with him and go, if Chase says it's dumb or Chase says it's great, then it's in there. I just got to find it, or it's in there and I got to get rid of it. But, you know, when he did that, it just kind of took me by surprise. I think it took him by surprise because I don't think he had it worked out just yet. He's trying something, and he came in to listen to it, and it's like, that works. Yeah. Because it shouldn't work. Right?
Yeah, right.
And there's a beautiful line that George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, famously said. He's like, I know it's impossible. It's going to be great because it's impossible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, think Elon Musk, right?
Right. Because
we're going to land on Mars before long. Yeah.
Right. So there's nothing, we're not rewriting, we're not redoing anything. We're not breaking new ground here. But I want the songs, whatever songs I've been a part of, to be quality and have enough of an impact on somebody for them to go, you know what? I hated every one of their other songs, but that song is kind of cool.
You know, you're really describing the importance of the people that you surround yourself with, right? I mean,
yes.
If everybody's like-minded, you're probably going to get a garbage, pile of shit out of that, right? But
yep. Sounds great.
But there's also plenty of look, and we'll get back to that, but plenty of 3-chord songs that are G, C, and D that are just the most
correct. And I don't try to write
unbelievable
complicated stuff like Noise in the Blood, the EP we did before this. I had very little really to writing. I mean, I wrote some parts of it, and I wrote all the lyrics and the melody and kind of pieced them together. But that was more Tony and Chase than anything. This just happened to be a lot more me because I was the one. I'm like, well, Phil, I got nothing to do this weekend. Got a day open. I'll go record a song.
Yeah. So
I wound up, there's like 3 or 4 songs that didn't even make the album that I'll use them for something. But, once you start seeing the formation of something, how do you take it to the finish line? Well, first of all, you have to know where the finish line is. Second of all, is it up to quality that you've done before? And if you've never done anything before, Anatomy of a Song, do you like it?
Yeah.
That has to be the be all end all. Do you like it? Because guess what? It could be, I Can't Go Get No Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. Well, here it is 60 some odd years later.
Yeah.
I have replayed it because I never learned to play other people's songs. But you better like it. So if you have no standard to compare it against other than do you like it, start there. Because if you like it, who gives a crap if somebody else doesn't like it?
Yeah.
Because you were there, you know what you thought, you felt, what you're, one of the first songs I ever wrote, even though I swear to God that Greg wrote it in the Dark 30, a song called Wild Man. I don't know why I remember how to play that. I swear to God, Greg wrote it, but he swears I wrote it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But the first song I remember writing is a song called The Lesser Me. And I was so heartbroken. Oh my God. So heartbroken. Anyway, so I was coming to practice. This was Dark 30 way back in the day. And I was just sitting around. We were going to rehearse and I'm like, anyway, and that's the same chord as New York Groove by Kiss, right? So Greg's like, ooh, and I just kept going. It's not the same rhythm. And I start writing, these lyrics. I don't even remember what the first line. Shiza Manelli. What is the name? Anyway, so that song is pure heartache, but it's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
because it kind of there's some weird thing about Vikings in the middle of it that Greg threw in. It makes no damn sense, but play it. The Lesser Me. You'll have to go to the Reverb Nation or that one. It's at the bottom. You'll have to see more songs. Right there where it says up, 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 up. See more. All music.
Yeah, I was looking for Seymour songs.
Seymour. Who's Seymour? Seymour songs. Seymour songs.
Lesser Me. Is that it?
Yes. But yeah, dude, this song, I remember it so much. Just because, this is from the very first album we did. And the sound quality is the sound quality. But man, something about it could suck. But that drum part, I can play it. Especially if you turn it up. That's it. There we go. Fun fact, that riff, I ripped it off for a song. The only song Chase was wrong about. This broken glass falling from my eyes is reason enough not to be alive. Now that's pretty more dead on than I usually am. But what emotion am I feeling there? I'm pissed off. I'm sad. I'm heartbroken. I found her cheating on me. What if anybody's ever been cheated on? That's the emotion you feel.
So how do you pull those lyrics out over, we're talking, 10, 12 different albums, right? So is it just stuff that happens every day in your life? Or?
Ladies, I apologize. Just saying that now, I apologize. So
are you the Taylor Swift of rock and roll?
Oh, I wish. Because Travis Kelce. Anyway.
Super Bowl tickets.
Yeah. Right. Brock Purdy eventually got to see her. Anyway, what a strange end of the Eras tour. Anyway, so I learned early on, I saw some rerun of some TV show where this guy had told the girls all the same thing and he got busted, right?
Yeah.
And whoever was telling whoever is like, you have to be honest and original. So in my mind, ladies, again, I apologize. It's coming in hot. So in my mind, if I have to be original in high school and subsequently throughout the rest of life, guys are always complimenting girls. So if I'm going to be original, I have to stand out. So I would talk to
them. Yeah.
Well, depending on how you take it, I'd be like, hey, you putting on a little weight? Needless to say, The well ran dry all of high school. But
That is shocking.
But that lesson.
I can't believe that didn't work.
I know, right? Come on, but where's body positivity? I was all for it way before. Okay, I was a trailblazer. But anyway,
I mean, you got to know your boundaries. You don't know the boundaries till you find them, right?
Right, you don't know the boundaries till you find them. But to say things differently. So again, I'm a huge Kiss fan, and they're not known for like, we're going to contemplate the universe. But when Stanley said in Lick It Up, you got to live like you're on vacation. It's not a crime to be good to yourself, right?
Yeah.
Let's go. Well, let's do this thing, right? So I'm all that kind of self-empowerment, but I don't want to be so self-empowerment like, you can do it because you're good. I don't want that. I want to say that and convey that without saying that.
So how do you do? I mean, I'm not asking you to give away yours.
How do you do it? You just what I used, because Greg ironically introduced me to a game called word disassociation. So you've all heard of word association. If I say toothpaste, you're going to say toothbrush. So the disassociation is, if I say toothpaste, say the furthest
shampoo.
thing. It's still a bathroom thing.
Yeah, it is.
Further.
Basketball.
There you go. It's totally disassociated with that. So now it's back to me, and I say croutons. Back to you, right? So I take my idea, whatever I want to say or whatever I'm feeling, and mentally I just throw it as far as I possibly can. And if something, something might catch my ear, and like All It Cost Was Me off the new album, that's just a catchy title. Like one of our friends, we were in the talks to make an actual movie that we'd come up with him right before COVID, and then that dried up all the funding. But he wanted us to name the album that because, he's made several movies, and he's like, now that's a title, because it gets people's attention.
So do you go into album creation? And here's where I'm going with it.
Okay.
You played God of Thunder earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Let me set the stage this way.
Okay.
And it seems like some of the magic of, and maybe it's just me, but some of this magic seems to have gone away today. But, the listener's experience of getting a new album or CD. And what I go back to is I always think of, and God of Thunder is part of that, right? Because it's just such incredible, that's just a cool riff, not complicated at all. It's just it's just a grooving little riff right there.
Only the cool people know it.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're missing out if they don't know it.
That's right.
And of course, Gene sings right with that, right? It's pretty cool.
Exactly.
But I always go back to, I started collecting albums not too long ago. I don't have a lot. But I got the first Black Sabbath album, very Black Sabbath, right? And the very first track, I think, is Black Sabbath on that. Can you imagine? Yeah, just pulling that. You're sitting here, and rock and roll didn't exist, really.
Right.
And suddenly this comes on your record player. Yeah. And it's got all this stuff under it, right? Yeah. How cool, man. So when you sit down to
I used
write,
to have a car tuned to that, by the way, because I could hear it when my headphones and the engine room.
So when you go into writing mode, your poetry mode, or whatever you're doing, are you looking to create something different and new?
Nope. I'm totally looking for, is this fun to play? Is it catchy? Is it ear herpes? I mean, I don't care how many times you've heard it. It's cliche, it's dumb, it's stupid, but watch the Super Bowl yesterday.
Yeah, millions of everybody plays it.
Right. And there's a reason everybody plays it, because it's super catchy. It's easy. Mostly the beginner could play it, to a relative degree, and they can impress their friends, or they can get laid out of it, or, they can feel like, hey, I can possibly do this. Right.
Yeah.
Cause it's not like, what is it? Oh, that's a lot more complicated than.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just played it without even looking at it. And I never play the song.
Right.
Because it's just, it's got that simplicity, but it's got that simplicity that draws you in. It's like the girl that's beautiful inside and out.
Yeah.
No way would ever describe her as a 10, but her personality makes her a 20.
Yeah.
And her looks make her a 20. You know, it's the entire package. It's not that she's got super big boobs and she can't do math, or she's a super genius NASA engineer and is flat as a pancake. It's the perfect combination of everything. So when I'm looking for songs that I want to play or want to write, sometimes I'll have like, man, I wish I'd written that song. So I'll try to mimic a song like that.
Yeah.
And I always fail. But
yeah,
that's where it starts, right? And so I have this other thing, like, again, you know, thrum. That is not, that's spelled. You know, is not that.
Right.
But they're cousins. But what I'm looking for is something that's fun to play, and do I have something to say, or is it super catchy in my head?
Yeah.
You know, like there's, you know, we are never, ever, ever getting back together. Who can't relate to that, whether you like the song or not?
Right.
We've all felt that, right?
Yeah.
And she's not saying, I really don't like you anymore. I don't want to see you. It's conveyed, and we're never getting back together.
So how would you describe? I'm going to lump it all into Octalux, right?
Okay.
How would you describe Octalux's progression of sound, right? So,
good question.
You know, so I'm tying into the fact you're trying to create catchy things that people can relate to and sing and dance and whatever they want to do with
right,
it.
exactly.
And we talked about in the previous show this audience participation, which I think your songs are chock full of it, right? But you sounded at the beginning, you had I hope you appreciated my Ramones reference.
Oh, yeah. I never listened to the Ramones. I mean, I
only know a couple songs, right? But they're
I don't really know them, but I mean, I know who they are.
Yeah, sure.
I just never got into them like that.
And I hope I don't mess this up, but kind of a punk reference, right? There's just like
we've always got that. I've always got the Offspring.
Yeah.
I've got like Motley Crue on speed. Some girl, God bless her, she said we sounded like Anthrax, and I about died. I was like, yes, you're totally wrong, but yes.
I think you're totally wrong, but good
I never
you.
told her that.
Yeah.
But I was like, I love you. You're perfect in every way. Because Anthrax is so good. But that's beside the point.
So your music has progressed, though. It's gone from kind of that punkish sound into a more heavier.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
You know, I mean, when it really just is the amount of experiences you have. And, you know, if I've already said it in the song, why do I need another song that says the exact same thing? You know, or conveys the exact same emotion, because there's a plethora, because I know big words, of emotions. And, you know, sometimes, like, this happened during actually it was being mixed. And I help out people with traumatic brain injuries. And one of my clients had died. Right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, I just had found out, and I went to the grocery store, and I was kind of in a daze. I didn't know what I found out in the car. I'm like, well, I was coming here for something. And I happened to have on, not this hoodie, but a T-shirt with the album artwork on it, because I went ahead and made one, because I was like, that's so awesome. I love it. I got to have it. Right? So I'm walking aimlessly through Kroger. I'm devastated because I've tried to help this guy, you know, and I knew him, and he and I had inside jokes, and he was my friend. And this little, maybe 18 guy, you know, picking stuff off the thing for the click list. He's like, dude, that's a sick shirt. So how do I contemplate something I'm super proud of and mesh that with my friend is dead? What emotion is that? Because that was, you know, chocolate and peanut butter going together, chocolate and vanilla. But when you find those little niches like that, you know, how do you capture that? That's what you've been asking me.
Yeah. What do you do with that?
Well, I didn't write a song because the song was over, or the album was already done. But
do you journal that stuff?
Yeah, for sure. And write it down. It's like, that's an interesting emotion, you know, because like, what if you won the lottery and your significant other went to pick it, cash in the ticket, and they die on the way there. I mean, you still won the lottery, but you lost a huge chunk of your life,
Yeah.
So mix mashes of, that you might get flirted with the day you get your heart broke. I can't be worth anything. You broke up with me, but they think I'm cute.
I don't,
or whatever.
I don't know many lyrics. I really don't. We were doing something.
Clearly,
no, I clearly don't. I mean, but
clearly I don't either because I couldn't remember. But I wrote the damn song.
But hearing you say that, there's one lyric that's always stood out. It may be Shinedown. You guys can correct me, but there's nothing wrong. There's nothing ever right. Such a cool contradiction.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I thought that was just the freaking awesomest.
That's a good lyric.
It's a great lyric. And again, I guess I hear them, right? But nothing ever stays with me. When I heard that, I was like, holy crap, man, that's really powerful because that's every day for people's life. And so you're just talking about that, right?
Yeah.
You got this incredible heartbreak of somebody that you just lost, but then you go pick up bread or whatever, and some dude's like, I love your shirt.
Right. Exactly.
And so that's I've always wanted to write that. I keep saying I'm going to start writing stuff.
Well, then do it.
I know. Yes. Just thanks. You're 1 minute.
Do you want to stop at the stop sign or do you want to totally pause? What do you want to do?
It depends on the moment. Yeah.
You just go with it. It's either going to suck or it's not.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's not going to suck because you're judging against what? You. Do you like it? So if you like it,
yeah.
There's a tons of songs at 2 and 3 in the morning I have on my phone like, this is the greatest song ever. And the next day I listen to it, I'm like, can I delete this faster?
Yeah.
Because this is garbage. This is hot garbage. But if you don't have, there's nothing to that. I love it. It's such a special place in my heart just because.
So give me, I know this is right off the top of your head.
Yep.
Favorite Octalux lyric.
Ooh. Even though we never played the song, Holding On to Letting Go is a good lyric.
There's got to be, I'm sure there's a handful. There's got to be one that when you sing it, play it, or whatever, you're thinking.
I like the taste, but I think it gave me cancer. Off razor blades and sutures. Ironically, we were playing Cancer Benefit, and I remembered it in the middle of the song. I'm like, holy what do I know? I like the taste. I'm a really good dancer. It was good times. But yeah, actually, I didn't even write that line. Dustin did. That's beside the point. Favorite Octalux lyric.
There's got to be that one lyric, man, that when you get to it and you're singing it and you're thinking, I don't care what happens in life at this moment. This lyric is the only thing that matters.
When we play Glory Hog, there's the stop where it says it's not for you, so get the fuck out. But see, that to me, that's a cop out. I don't even really like cussing. I don't like cussing in songs, even though I've done it, because it's anybody can say that. That's not creative enough for me.
Yeah. Well, all right. You give me the good stall techniques, and I'm all about it.
All right. I'm trying to think because there's a lot of songs.
I know.
I like. Force feed yourself some shotgun shells and lay back and enjoy the ride.
If we had commercials in this, we could say, let's take a break and let Hurley figure out the lyrics to his own songs.
Right. I know. Hang on. We haven't played Ashtray Face in a long time. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah. All right, it'll come to us.
Right, it's in the chorus. Oh man, why can I not think of the man? I am not up to snuff on my own song.
I put you on the. I mean, you got 100 songs here that we're talking about,
right?
And
but
telling you to, or asking you to pick out one lyric is not easy.
I lick the. If I can remember the lyric right before, I lick the blade.
I'll be the spoon, you be the batter.
Right. No, it's not like that. It's not a fuck me, suck me song. But it's, oh my God. Well, I'm like, watching you burning as I lick my wounds, wasting your time in that leper's womb. remember that. Oh my God. Because we haven't played it since 2019.
See?
Because
There you go.
we totally said, you know what? We've played all these other songs a while. We're going to focus on the new album.
Yeah.
So good thing I showed up and didn't remember those either. Good times.
Well, why don't we do a song off the new album?
All right.
We've been talking about.
That's
Give us a song that
You picked the title that you want to hear. That's not the new album.
Yeah.
That's the first ever.
Yeah. I think on the other show we talked about Writhe, didn't we?
Yep.
I hate to play that one again because it was on that one. Let's talk a minute about sex. Sex is part of life. It's beautiful and it's essential to living a great life. Enter my friends at Shameless Care who have created something cool for your personal health care. Shameless Care offers a variety of products you may be interested in. ED treatments, STI treatments, STD testing. So how does it work? Well, that's the easy part. You go to shamelesscare.com, you choose the product you're interested in, you complete an online questionnaire, which is reviewed by a medical doctor, by the way. Pay for the product, and in a couple of days, discreet packaging arrives right to your doorstep. Their customer service is second to none. They're always responsive, and they care. Listen, Ashley's the best. Tell her I said hello. They're a small business ran by people like you and me, and they're incredible. And the best part? We can save you some money. Click on the link in the show notes. Use the code JUDE at checkout. It's JUDE. And save $30 on your first purchase. That's not bad, huh? Visit our website to learn more. Shamelesscare.com. And don't forget the promo code JUDE. Yeah. Man, I don't know the song.
Pick one that's
All right, then.
Amanda, fight. Why don't you pick one?
Number 2, since you talked about.
Oh, my God.
That's what you get. You said to pick one, I'll pick one. Oh, you're going to play it.
Well, I'll play it along with it. You pick one.
No, play it or we'll play it.
Why can't I play it alone? I'll play soft.
Right.
That's what she said.
That's right. Too many words in my brain. This right here. That just drops down that A. Like little things like that. That's shouted out loud from kids. That's where I directly studied. And this is one of my favorite ones. I ripped that directly from Ashtray Face because that's how me and there you go. See, it's because me and Chase break that down a lot more live, and I'm like, we need another one like that. So the past influences the future, right?
I tell you what I like about that song. We got to give some love to the bass players.
Oh yeah, Clint's amazing.
Yeah,
Clint is just as I said. I mean, I can't be complimentary enough of the three people I get to play music with.
yeah. So and listen, I'm just going to give you my first draft of opinions with that.
Okay.
Right, it's a straightforward rock and roll song. There's nothing too awful complicated.
That's why it was called Fast Jam, because I couldn't think of a name.
Yeah, but the magic to me is that bass guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Make fun of bass players all we want.
Oh, no.
I'm in the middle of that, but that's the cool part, right? So when I listen to it, you're like, how can I connect to that? And in some songs you got the guitar player, some songs you got the melody of the voice or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That one to me, man, is like, no, that's a bass player's jam song right there.
Yeah, and I remember me and Tony went to Agave and Rye, and I was like, hey, this is why I recorded with Phil, right? And I was playing him that, and he's like, I like the riff.
Yeah.
Because I could just see the wheel spinning, like, I can make this not suck. Because it was still that boom, snap, that robo drum thing.
So how do you record? That's a good question. We talked a little bit about the anatomy of a song, so you've kind of brought that up. But so the next part, you got this song concept, and now you got to get it and memorialize it somehow.
Well,
so
there's a ton of different ways to do that. Like for Loud, Fast, and Awesome, we did it the old for Loud, Fast, and Awesome, No Apologies for Broken Hearts, and Atomic. We did it the old-fashioned way, where I would go in with Chase, and we're just looking to get a solid drum track. If I happen to play something worth keeping, we'd keep it. And then you go in, and then you have the drum track, so Chase don't got to be there, so you can sit there and play guitar to your heart's content. And then you come in, you bring in the bass player. Then you come in, you sing the songs, and then you bring in the lead guitar player, and then you kind of mix it all together.
That's the
for
stereotypical recipe, right?
Right. Now for Noise in the Blood, we went in with the solid mindset. We were recording this song today in 8 hours. And if we're going to give it we're going to try it 3 times. If we ain't feeling it by the third time, we're moving on to a different song, same concept. So we played live. And there's overdubs on it for sure.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's much more live and much more in the moment.
Yeah. So the people listening, right, they've never had that experience. The typical formula, you start laying down tracks, and then you build the different instruments of the band and tracks until you get a final product. And
correct.
A lot of the a lot of the music we listen to out there, the band's never even together. You just you just lay it down, right?
Right. You walk in and you go boop doop 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 doop. I'll see you later. Give me my check later.
Yeah.
But so for, like I said, Noise in the Blood, we went in, and Chase was very, like I said, Tony and Chase really wrote the majority of that, and I was just kind of there as, maybe we do this here, and I wrote the lyrics, and we all sang and whatever. But he was very like, we're going to do an EP, because I'm always album guy.
Right.
And he's like, we're doing an EP, and we're going to do one song a day, and we're going to try whatever song 3 times. If ain't feeling it, then we're moving on to a different song. We ain't wasting time, right? And not to rush the thing, but just like, I want to get that energy of the first or second time instead of, all right, let's go for it again. We just got back from smoke break. We've already done it 3 times. Let's do it 5 more.
Yeah. It's hard to find that energy for that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So for this, it was completely ass backwards, because like I said, it was just me, and YouTube, you can type in 120 beats a minute rock beat, boom, snap, boom, right? So I'd send that little voice memo to Phil. So I was like, it's 120 beats a minute. He'd find me some boom, snap, boom, snap. And I had to come in and play like it's, Rep Arena. And that's because that's just how I play. So that energy was there. I knew that would be there, because like in here, I can dick around, I'm not being serious. I'm just like, but if I'm like, the song that David Ite didn't like, shit. Sorry, I cuss a lot when I play. I'm sorry.
Play or
not when I mess up. greatest song I've ever written. Anyway, that's beside the point. But I can, I know how I play, and I play like it's live 24/7, whether it's just you or it's 50 bajillion people.
Right.
So when I get in there and it's just boom, snap, boom, boom, snap, and I'm going, because I'm not Tony. Tony is like, is the finger placement correct?
Right.
Everything sounding absolutely perfect and stellar, because not that he's anal like that. He's just that good.
Right.
Right. And I am not. Right.
I can relate
so that,
to that
slop gets a little in there, and that's what makes it good. You get a little sauce on your fingers.
Slop is what I've always called it. Let's put some slop. Yep.
Exactly. You get that going. That's there. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then, hey, all right, Phil, just send me the boom, snap with that. Or unless I already have lyrics to it, let me go throw on a scratch. So I'll go, sanctified in the church person, which is a reference to Culture Club. What? Anyway, didn't know that. That's beside the point. So, and then you got that, and then I'm like, hey, Chase, hey, Tony. And Chase had already actually heard this song, because I recorded it once with like that, and tried to send it in a video, and it was like, he's like, I can't hear that. What the hell? So when I sent him that, he's like, all right, I get what you're going after here. And he comes in. I was like, remember, you wanted the song like I by Sabbath. That's all he needed to hear. The rest is there. And then Tony's like, what if we play the creepy out of tune guitar that I'll go back and totally fix later? No, you won't. Right?
Yeah.
And then
that out of tune creepy guitar is what brings the mystique into that song.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. And plus, again, another throwback. How did all those old Metallica albums start?
Yeah.
That's as much as I can play that. Sorry, guys. But right, creepy guitar, clean, 8 songs. Here's a Motley Crue reference. Here's a Culture Club reference. Here's the song is based on I from Black Sabbath. Dude, it's all right there, and we're not even to the first chorus yet.
Yeah.
Right?
Creepy graveyard songs aren't always in tune guitars, right?
Right. And it's not even a creepy graveyard song, but it's just got that, there's something about it that introduces you to like what's going on.
Certainly.
Plus the poem that it actually starts off with is, what did I name that? I want to say heretofore. Was it heretofore? It doesn't matter. The point being is, I'm pretty sure it's heretofore, but let me find the actual thing, because we'll let you guys decide. Since I'm not a lyric guy. That's what you said, not me.
That's me.
Right.
I agree with that.
So, here we go. Of morass and the gauze of praise, the nigh of nigh parades the malaise. In echoes within one's own gaze, a still and slow in astral rays. And sighted by the shun, infected within the one, and such the naysayer's pun. Amen to Oblivion. What's that mean?
I have not a clue.
Yes, you do. You have to think about it.
I'd have to hear it. I'd have to read it.
I just read it to you. That you were a cop, but you retained information. No wonder everybody's in prison.
No, I'd record it.
I would record it. How do you go about recording? Anyway. Right? But see, to me, that sounds like some sort of old-timey poem that I was forced to read. So if I use old-timey words and words that nobody really uses, and they make sense together, either rhyme-wise or maybe alliteration-wise.
Yeah, I would. I just hit the wrong button there.
That's fine.
I would look at it as like, so reading it first impressions, kind of like a warrior. He's about to, he's off on his own. He's kind of that lone person. He's about to take on this insurmountable task.
And, and then you tie that into the title of the song.
Yeah, Amen to Oblivion.
No.
Outside the Universe?
No, it's the intro.
I don't know. Tell me what
it's the intro to the album. He has not done his homework.
No.
Right, writhe.
Oh, okay.
So what does writhe mean?
I don't know.
Writhe means to roll around,
Yeah.
through pleasure or uncomfort. Like if you, I don't know, if you're having an aneurysm, you're going to writhe around on the ground. If somebody's laying beside you, stroking around on the magic sauce, there you go.
To make continual twisting, squirming movements, or contortions of the body.
Correct.
Yes.
So if there's somebody that's all on their own, are they always going to be perfectly comfortable?
No.
No. And to fit in all situations, they're going to have to
Wiggle around.
contort themselves, right?
Yeah.
So the first line of writhe is sanctified, which I may come off like an idiot, but I put a lot of thought in this. Sanctified. What's sanctified mean? Here she comes. Here she. No, it's there.
This is where I get to just listening to the bass lines.
But sanctified is what?
Set apart as or declare holy.
Right.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, alone, having to contort to make yourself fit in all situations, all of a sudden you're holy in the church, reference to Culture Club, of the poisoned mind. How does your mind get poisoned? Through all that you see. Because everything you put in eventually comes out, whether it's you're only reading gospel books, or you're only watching porn, or you're only seeing your mom shoot heroin, or my mom never did. I'm not from that background. I'm sorry if anybody is, but
Yeah.
you know, if you are a product of what you see, and it goes back to the nature nurture argument. Can you rise above that? Yes, but if you don't have the proper somebody to pull you away from that, and that's all you know, then that's all you know.
So where does that come from for you, though? I mean, I'm not talking about your background. I'm just saying that's a deep, and I love it. Right? I love the messaging, and I love what you're saying. I really do.
Right.
Although I would never know what those words were to mean there, but
Well, maybe that just means it to me, but that's what I'm meaning. It might sound like this guy's an idiot.
no, it's always been my struggle. I mean, pick a Van Halen song that I've listened to 14 gazillion times.
I like the way you keep the working parts clean. That's right.
So where does
But
that,
even that's just saying I like your pussy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it's a much more creative way. You're like, working part. Oh.
It's a Diamond Dave way. Right?
Right.
Yeah. So where does that come from for you? Where does this complexity of lyrics come from?
You know, I am not big on personally. There's so much in pop culture and, you know, just society in general, and everybody's, you know, if you start the Save the Podcast activist group, well, once you've saved all the podcasts, there's no reason for you to have to save the podcast group. So
Right.
let's throw some more things under the umbrella that's potentially endangering the podcast, right? So, you know, I've always, and this is going to sound so bad, and it's not meant to sound bad at all, but, you know, my first little friend ever, I want to say her name was Allison, but I was so small I can't remember. I don't think it's Allison, but I think her last name's Johnson. Anyway, little black girl lived down the street, right? And me and her, thick as thieves.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything different, right? She was my friend. I didn't know anything about racial differences or anything like that. My cousin, it's not kosher to say the R word, so I'll say intellectual disabilities, right? He's my favorite cousin, right? We moved next door. Once we moved around, little kid with braces on his legs, right? Next door neighbor, not him, but a different one before that guy, he's MR, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had all these outside influences when we first moved to Kentucky. My first best friend, Yon Lai, spelled tan something, but he was clearly not from America.
Right.
Or maybe he was, but in my mind, I was in 4th grade. He must be from China or somewhere over there, right? But he and I got along great. So I've never had this. I've always thought it was weird that people don't like each other for something about them, right? It just doesn't make any sense to me. If I don't like you, I'm not going to like you because I don't like you, not because you have blue hair or black skin or whatever.
Right.
But I've always been exposed to these different, quote unquote, types of people that had some sort of disability or had a challenge that I never really thought, well, I don't have that, you know, but at the same time, I guess I'm empathetic. You know, I don't really feel that way because I just try to treat people like people, you know.
Do you still feel yourself in the poetry and the lyrics that you're writing? Are you still falling back on those?
No. I just write what I'm feeling, whatever it is, and it has to. I am not that guy. It's like, let's write some songs today. Here we go. You know, Bethel Mays down at the laundromat. Woohoo! You know, I'm not going to do that. To say I wrote 5 songs today.
Yeah,
that's not going to turn my crank. But if I don't touch the instrument like you for however long, and I'm like, what? How do I? Hey, can I do that again? You know?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to convey, I guess, is I try to look at life and the absurdity of it.
Yeah.
Because people take things, I'm going to go shoot up a church because they said they don't like gay people. Well, does that really make a lot of sense?
Right.
Or they can't come in here because they are a girl and they dress like a boy. Does that make any sense? No. Right. So I just never understood any of that. And I never tried to because it was like, well, I don't feel that way. So I don't give a shit. And it was born out of the I don't give a shit. But it's more like, if I don't want anybody giving a shit about what I do, which is basically nothing, then I can't give a shit about what they do. Right? Be free, fly free, you know, you do you. But, you know, since I had all these experiences very early on with people who were quote unquote different, you know, that weren't quote unquote normal. And if you've ever met normal people, the people with brain injuries that I help, we actually call them normies.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we'll read books or something like that. I'm like, now remember these people don't have brain injuries and these are the decisions they're making. How do you feel about your decision-making abilities? And they're like, no. And when we go out to lunch or whatever, I'm like, watch how the normies act. Because people have no sense, right?
Yeah.
And all the guys, we talk about the brain and the lobes of the brain and how this impacts this and what you got to work on and this, that, and the other. Like my brother has, I recently had to give him a recommendation for something. And he and I aren't the closest, and I love him to death, and I think he loves me to death, but we just never like kicked it like that, right?
Right.
And for the first time ever, he's like, "You're right." And then he went to the doctor, and the doctor told him that I was right. And then he called and left me a voicemail. He said, "The doctor said you were right." And I'm like, "Yeah." But I had all these experiences with people who were quote unquote different, right? They weren't quote unquote normal, whatever that means. So, and I guess in the back of my mind, somehow it was like, thank God I don't have, you know, that problem, but also at the same time, how difficult is that for them?
Yeah.
Or is that my perspective that it's difficult? Because it's 100% normal for them to have the braces or to be
right.
MR.
That's a good point.
Or to, you know, be in a wheelchair, right? There's like, whatever.
It's just Monday.
It's just Monday, but you know, from the outside looking in, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, and initially I'm sure they probably were like that, but understanding that people, you know, whatever blows your hair back, as one of my professors used to say, I guess that's just how it came to be. 'Cause all those experiences I had, and then, you know, understand, you know, 'cause I, you know, a huge Star Wars fan, and there's semi-talking dogs and and all these alien species. Some of them are dangerous, some of them are not. Some of them are your friends, some of them are not. Sounds a lot like the human race to me.
Yeah.
So how all that, mashes into that, meaning guitar and writing songs, I never, ironically, on the new album, there's a song called Neon Dreams. I've hated the word neon forever because to me it represented too much now and would put you now, like dating something in your head. Like if I go, we're going to go get a malted, or, you know, are we talking about the 50s? Because that's the only time anybody ever went and got a malted. What the fuck are you talking about, right? Or if you say taxi, that puts you in the 90s or the 80s when you would say Uber now. But Uber, I swear to God, we're not drinking. But Uber is going to date you, right? So I never wanted to date, quote unquote, the songs. I wanted them to be timeless, right? Whole lot of shaking going on
Yeah.
by Jerry Lee Lewis. Even though sound quality, it sounds like it's from 1,000 years ago, but the groove, right?
Yeah. Timeless.
Timeless, right?
Yep.
So I never wanted to be like, I got my bell bottoms on and my hair too, you know, but that's not me. And Neon, the word, dated it.
Puts
right?
a date. Yeah.
But I want to make things where people are like, what is that even talking about? And half of them will be like, don't care. And the other half will be like, because when I heard James Hetfield say megalomania, I had to go look that up. Like, what the hell is that big word? Maybe he's smart. Maybe I'm smart. Maybe I'm smart just like him. Right? And so I was like, let's use big words, right? Because they're big people words.
Well, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Or your pee-pee.
You're putting together a story, but you're putting it together in a way that the listener has to experience it and craft their own thing.
Correct. It's almost like a choose your own adventure.
Like a choose your own adventure.
Because if I say red,
yeah, the story's told.
So you're an ex-cop. If I say, and he had a red shirt on, what's your next question?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your next question?
What color pants or hat or jacket or
what color red?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Red like this shirt, or red like a fire truck, or red like an apple, or red like this pen. You're looking for more detail from me if I would.
Yeah.
Right. But for the listener, red. They're thinking on whatever their favorite shade of red is.
So your challenge is to craft enough of a story, but not tell the actual story.
Correct. And that way you can be invested in it.
Yeah.
Right. Now, sometimes like U2, It's a Beautiful Day. Great song.
Yeah.
And the message is, it's a beautiful day. Don't let it slip away. That's a great message. You know?
Yeah.
Gene Simmons, Every Day Above Ground's a great day.
Yeah.
But it's kind of too on the nose for me. Right. So even though I would prefer to be super happy with, you can do it, and ba-doo, I think it would take away some of the magic, because beyond the fact that most social media makes you think that people are morons, some people do like to think, they'll break a sweat.
Yeah.
Especially if they really like word mysteries, and they're not really word mysteries per se. It's rock music. I'm not rewriting, Sisyphus over here or anything. But at the same time, I don't want it to be so blatant that, wake up, little Susie, wake up, down.
Yeah. So where was I going to go with that? So when you're writing all these pieces, and we've moved in from anatomy to crafting, getting the track down to your lyrical approach to this. Mm-hmm. There's always this theory that exists. You have to have the hook in the song. Are you looking for that hook?
No, I'm never looking for the hook. I find the hook within whatever I'm doing.
Go deeper with that.
I lick the blood from the blade as it pulls from your dreams. That's what I was trying to say earlier from that one song. I lick the blood from the blade as it pulls from your dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty impactful, at least in mine.
It is. Yeah.
And it's not easy to say.
Yeah.
Or easy to remember, clearly. But that's the line. I lick the blood from the blade as it pulls from your dreams. That song is about revenge. I was upset and angry.
Yeah. It's a cool lyric.
So you were asking what? Because that's what made me think of
the hook. Like, are you writing for the hook?
So there's no
or
real
for the
hook there, but the hook is at the end when the music kind of stops. Because if, with that, I like the blood from the blade as it pulls from your dream. That pause, that dream, it's right there. Because I could, as it pulls from your dreams. There's nothing pulling you toward the next verse.
Yeah.
But as it pulls from your neck, throat, crotch, favorite toy, dreams. Oh my God, he just ripped out my dreams. Oh my God, so bad, right? But you're already there because you've kind of interlocked it.
Yeah.
With the end of the chorus that was big and explosive to the beginning of the second verse, of like, watching you burning as I lick my wounds. That's the first line of that song. What? and now I'm already hooked from the chorus. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so some songs are just word salad. Some of them really are. I learned that from Gene Simmons and a lot of scat because, again, my friend Greg, likes scat. Bop doobity ba doobity. Doesn't have to have words. Or they don't get up and get your grandma out of here. What? It's just a filler spot, right?
Right.
So when you have, what am I trying to say? Sometimes the hook is in the line. All it cost was me. You're already hooked, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You want to know
Right. What the hell happened?
what price did you have to pay to do that?
All right, Writhe. There's no hook in that title, right?
Right.
The other one is much more hooky. You want to know what, when it's like the old comedian Dave Attell. You meet a guy with one leg, he's got a story,
Yeah.
right? Were you born without it? Did it get blown off? Did you rip it off yourself? What happened? Tell me the story, right? So sometimes outside the universe, maybe not as strong as All It Cost with me, but, Harvester of Sorrow, Metallica. Whoa. What? Enter Sandman, not exactly the most exciting title.
Right.
And it's not as hooky as Harvester of Sorrow,
Yeah.
right? Even Blackened. Black fish, Cajun fish. What's blackened, right? But when you have something, the hook can be in the lyric. Even though we've done it 3 times, actually, I don't necessarily like title tracks. So like Amen to Oblivion. That's actually a line taken from a book because the original title of that song was Motorcycle. It was just a filler, right? And Chase eventually is like, can we change the title of that? Because, Clint rides motorcycles, and I think Tony does, but Chase and I don't, and that would be a reason enough to change it. But it's like, but if you say, here's Motorcycle.
Yeah.
That's dumb. But if you say Amen to Oblivion, whoa, what? We're giving blessings to the worst thing ever? What's coming? What's causing oblivion? I got to find out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So even the album art, Tony had this complete other idea, right? And Chase is like, I think we should do something like this. It was a Sunday morning. I'll never forget. He sends this picture to the group chat. And I was like, holy shit, that's amazing looking.
So is that something that you guys created, or how did that come up?
Well, no. So for the next 45 minutes, Chase just typed in something, psychosis, some nonsense. And he probably had it on his phone for a while, and he just finally sent it.
Yeah.
So I'm searching the internet, typing in every combination of word I know, psychosis, sponge, whatever the hell he typed in, to get something close to this. Because I would have to, because clearly it was created, right?
Right.
So finally I track it down on Reddit, and turns out it's from a guy named AI Made Media out of British Vancouver, Columbia. Right? Is that what it's called? I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
it's people know it. Somewhere else. Anyway, I hit the guy up and I'm like, dude. And his page is full of stuff like that. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It looks like super cool Iron Maiden stuff, but it's not Iron Maiden, right? But it's just enough of a callback that it tied everything and all the little references in all these songs together, right?
So it's refreshing to hear that you guys put some thought into album art. I think album art is fascinating.
For sure.
Yeah.
So there was a little thing over by the right shoulder that's not there now that I loved. And Tony and Chase were like, that thing's got to go. It's distracting. And Tony's a brilliant photographer, right? And he's got the eye. So anyway, so I hit this guy up and I'm like, hey, I'm in a band. Right? And he's like, I used to be in a band. That'd be super cool. Just give me credit. I'm like, deal. Right? So we got it. And I actually dolled this up on Canva. The guy that does music, he helps us put on shows and music videos and things like that. His name's Stephen Patek. He's made movies for like Hallmark and stuff like that. He actually made the actual name logo, and I dolled up the rest of it in Canva. And then our friend Tommy Treadway kind of did all that, like finished it up, and then took out this thing that I thought looked like a heart, and they're like, it looks like COVID, take it out. That's right. So it was actually down there in the right. So that's gone, and then you're like, wow. And then we have our old symbol, the atomic star, and the sunglasses that you can't really see, but you can really see if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Again, like an Iron Maiden album cover, there's something in there.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Not everybody gets all. We have CDs of this. I made sure of it. We're going to be making albums of this. Why? Because not everybody is like, let me turn it on my phone. Right? Which is fine. That's how the modern age listens to music. But some people dig looking at, what's going on? Where is this coming from? Right?
Yeah.
So I wanted something that I could be proud of to stick next to the rest. I'm proud of every album we've ever done and every one I've got to be a part of. But this one is heads and tails, and I know everybody says this is the best piece of work I'll probably ever be associated with. Not because of me, just because of how everything coalesced and came together when it wasn't even supposed to be an album.
Yeah.
Right? It's just that magic that came to be because the artwork's perfect and the logo's perfect and the songs are perfect and they sound and it flows real well. It makes a great set list. When we put on, I keep bumping that thing. Sorry. When we put on IWY, our own music festival last fall, we just said, we're just playing the new album. We're not going to play any of the old songs.
Yeah.
Not because we don't like the old songs. Let's give ourselves a challenge. Let's play these.
Yeah. You're proud of it.
Yeah. Super proud of it. And like, there is so much, like Writhe is very plotty, Sabbathy. This is very much just straight up rocker, buzz up some heavy smoke. Outside the Universe is very much kind of a sludgy type of sleazy rock song. Love Song for the Lost. I love that song. But I love all the songs, but Love Song for the Lost is like a ballad, right? And we don't really do all that. I mean, I would, because I'm a sap at heart, but Jay's like, no ballads. He didn't. He sounds just like that too. He doesn't. That's beside the point. But, even that, help if I took out the pick.
Yeah. Well,
Might sound better. That's me sitting around watching Dateline.
Yeah.
After the last, the only good Def Leppard song in the past 30 years that came out, take what you want. That's exactly where I lifted that from. But, and then the chorus, there's nothing to that chorus. A, F sharp, G, F sharp, A, F sharp, G, G.
But that's the magic, though, right? I mean, you don't have to be overly complicated to be awesome.
But it's everything else that makes that song stand out. Neon Dreams. I was talking to Tony, and I didn't even think anything of the riff. I'm just sitting around again watching Dateline. I went, man, whatever. I'll record it and send it to Tony and Chase. Loved it, and so I'm like, you know what you should do? You should do this really cool AFI thing, like the Leaving song. And Tony loves the Leaving song, and I love the Leaving song. And so Tony comes up with, and he's like, it comes in on the one. Boom. Right? Plasma Burn. Straight up my take. I'm not even going to tell you. It's just my take on something that I love, And I love that it's all dissonant chords. And you get that lift up when it gets right to that A, even though you've been on this diminished B for most of the but you get that lift up when it should be bringing you down, but because you're not diminished, you got that lift right for the chorus, right? And the beautiful, and then I'll go through the rest of the songs, and then I get to say something magical, special. Anyway, so you got Plasma Burn, that's doing that, and then All It Cost Was Me, a beautiful friend of mine moved away right before COVID, right? And I was devastated. I love him so much. I still do. We talk every day. I'm like, move back. It's stupid, right? And this song's really about him. And it's got that's not a C, but the rest of it's a C.
Mm.
That pang, right? That pang of, why can't it be C, right? It's just sad.
Yeah.
And then opens up to the B. It's just creepy enough to be creepy. It's just creepy enough to be Sabbath. It's just creepy enough to be Stone Temple Pilots. It's just good enough, but that's my favorite note. It's one of my favorite chords anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds beautiful, but then you hear, the root note is C. It's not. It's almost, it's the reason women are the way they are. And I'm fully convinced of this. Women like sour candy. Why? Because candy's supposed to be sweet, and they put it in their mouth, and they figure if I suck on this long enough, this sour is going to turn sweet, because they like to change everything, right? He's a jerk, but if I love him enough, he'll be sweet. It's never going to work. It's the same thing. You want this to be. You want that. It's beautiful, but you're getting this. And it just kills you because it's so close. It's a half step, and it's perfect. And they never get there, right?
Yeah.
They never get there. Guys don't change. Women don't change. Guys are easy. Sugar. All right.
Yeah.
Right. But women like a challenge. Nothing wrong with that. But that's why they get so frustrated. Am I wrong?
Women love a challenge.
Women love a challenge. Why can't this be a C?
They want that pang or whatever you called it.
Right. But when I'm playing, when we're playing this, and I'm like, it's, you can bend it up there, but it's never going to stay there. Right.
Right.
So that's like, the chick that Trump said it was a horse face. She ran for president. Anyway, she's the first woman CEO of IBM or anything major. Carly Fiorino. She said there's the three bad things about goals. One, you get it, you can't sustain it. Two, you get it and it's not what it's cracked up to be. Or three, you never get it and you get bitter. Right? So back to that, you want it to be C so bad.
Yeah.
And it's just so melancholy. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part about it. Anyway, and then, Thrum. That is, all that history with stuff, the other song, and then Chase and all that. And, an Amen to Oblivion, the title track. So I wanted to write a song that didn't have chords in it because when you're bored and nobody loves you, you think about things like this. Anyway, so, I write a lot of things I can't play. And when I got that, I'm like, what is that? If you notice, there's no chords here because that's that E and that D, that dissonant, and that C and that C and that D. Because you want it to be.
Yeah.
But it's not. And then the G and the A and the F sharp in the A sounds a little, right?
Yeah.
And then it resolves in the chorus and pulls everybody back together, right? And that song is just about ideally a superhero, because that's what the lyrics say, superhero flying in the air at night, and most people want to take on the world, right? When they're young and naive, or they're very idealistic and they want to take on the world. Well, I'm sure when you first became a cop, I'll solve all the crime and everybody will be happy and nobody will be in jail. And the second verse is, superhero criminals underweight, too much to save and it's too late. So I'm sure you had to come to the realization that you can't, as much as you want to save them all, you can't. And how do you wrestle with that? Right?
Yeah, that's cool. All right, let's move into, I mean, go ahead. Finish.
Oh, yeah. And anyway, so the end of that, I keep bumping into this thing. Sorry, listener. Anyway, so the end of that, me and Tony and Phil were in the studio, right? And Tony comes up with a, You know, it's very, there's something about it. Everybody loves that song. So Tony is like, I need a little bit more room at the end. So Phil just looped it, right?
Yeah.
Well, me and Tony are up to smoke a cigarette. And Phil's like, yeah, I looped it when we got down there. And it's like 4 minutes long. And Tony is figuring, I'll dick around and then we'll just fade it out or cut it back. Just Tony went on a roll. It was like one take. And the whole thing is this almost completely different song. And so that's the 10th song on the album, really. But even though, because again, because there's no chords there, right?
Right.
So when it gets to that, it breaks down. It's the perfect end of the show. Like, hey, have you guys had a good time tonight? And they make some noise, blah, 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 blah. Are you guys ready? We're going to bring it back and explode, right? So I take it off the E. Here's the insider trade secret. Don't tell anybody. So it's that E and that D, that dissonant. But when it comes to that part, because, I take it down to D and D. So it's a little step up.
Yeah.
Listen to your ear. Sounds a little higher, right?
Yeah. You're building some anticipation here.
Right. It's the same rhythm, right? So this is all halftime. You guys sing with us. We're going to sing here in a second. I'll show you where. And then it kicks in, and you get that E, that crush of that E. And you get that full C. That's my part and Clint's part, the whole rest of the song. Any dingus can play that, trust me. I'm one of the dinguses. But when you have that, there's just something about it you listen to. And if you're a guitar player or a songwriter, people have said that's the song. And I don't know what it is. It's Tony's part. It has to be, because there's nothing I'm doing that's that interesting, even lyrically. The melody, I ripped off Jerry Cantrell, because during COVID they were doing some Alice in Chains' awesome thing in Seattle, and he has his old guitar from like 1 billion years ago, and it still had dirt and grime on it, and he offhandedly said, and the guy's like, "You never clean these?" Like, "No, the blood stays on the blade." And I'm like, boom!
Yeah.
And I needed a lyric. The
Yeah.
steady winds of time find that truth is far behind. It's over now and been too far gone. The dreams of yesterday, as the blood stays on the blade, glean to shine, shine to glean, but still it stays on. It stays on. And that's the eternal hope of wanting to do good, to fix the problems of the world. Because nobody, even the people that don't like other people, I don't necessarily think they don't want good things to happen to them. They just either don't understand, or I think a lot.
Yeah.
I try to play idiot rock guy, and I do a pretty good job of it because I'm an idiot rock guy. But when you really hunker down, that's a big there are big philosophical conversations. I'll watch those on YouTube or whatever. But the bigger point is, does it make you feel a way?
Yeah.
Either this album is so good to drive to. It's 38 minutes. Put it on. Just go find a flat path and drive.
And go
windows,
for it.
Right, because it's because Clint said it's an easy listen. You can hear all the cool stuff, but even if you're a musician, you're not going to get bogged down like, how the hell did he do that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you want something like that can be in the background of somebody's memories, right? The first time they got laid or got kissed or they're hanging out with their buddy. Like the whole feel of it. I'm rambling, I'm sorry. But the whole feel of it to me, even though it's not a concept album, the feel of it is when and see if you can remember it. You and your best friend, you're 19 or 20, 21. You got $15 between you.
Yeah.
And you go out and you have the best time of your life because you're telling stories and you see the cute guy or the cute girl. You wind up getting a free beer, or you getting high, or, there's some crazy story that goes with it. You never realize the magic of that moment until way later. And you're like, man.
Yeah, those were the days.
If I could just go back to having a piece of shit car and $15, my life would be perfect. Yeah. But you miss those. It's nostalgia for a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But it's an appreciation. We're working on actually turning this into a play about that, but that's neither here nor there. But that's the general thought of the album. So there is a lot more thought that's behind it, but you don't have to know any of what we've talked about tonight to go and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
And that's
the magic of it.
Right. That's what I wanted. If it's there if somebody wants it, it's kind of like the Bible.
Yeah.
It's there if somebody wants it.
Yeah.
And if you don't want it, big mistake. But
yeah.
But if you do want it, it's right there.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of the feeling, that's the question I was going to ask you a second ago.
Okay.
Tell me about. Let me ask the question, I guess.
Okay.
What's your favorite feeling within playing live?
Power.
What do you mean power?
Power.
How?
Turning on the amp and feeling that just rush of it's loud and it's me. That is the feeling, right? I want people to go, hey, I want that because, or in the song that Avid Ite, whoever that is, we traded, there's a part in that, because he wrote the riff. People think I wrote it just because it's so cool and I write cool shit. That's not in tune. Sounds even better. It's distorted. It's Sabbath now. And there's where you going? But there's a part where we break it down live where it's just the bass.
Yeah.
I want you guys to think about everything you've been through. The person that broke your heart, the thing that's pissing you off. When I count it down, when we come back in, you're going to yell as loud as you can. And I'll count you in. 1. And that's really to count us in.
Yeah, all right.
Let's Jace know that I'm coming in. Let them know.
Right.
But
I recognize it. Yeah.
Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where you going? Right? And that, because I want people to come to a show and have a release. I don't care if you don't like the president, the former president, Taylor Swift, inflation, your penis. I don't care if you don't like anything. I want you to go to a show and forget all that shit and say, man, I'm hot and sweaty and my voice hurts, and man, beer costs a lot of money, but I feel great.
There is a power to that amp. When you talked about turning that amp on, I get it, because I've experienced it. I know what you're saying. So
that's what it is, dude. You turn it on and you make that first noise.
Yeah, you can feel it. You can just feel the energy or whatever that is coming out of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and you're just like, it's coming from here, and
it's the moment.
It is the moment. I mean, it's a lot of work doing a show. Just being on stage and remembering all the parts and keeping people into it, and and making sure everything's working and making sure you remember the parts and are there lyrics, because clearly I don't know any of them. But in just remembering all that. But when you can get them right there, it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. But it's there's an energy, and it's one of those things. If you know,
Yeah,
type of thing.
Exactly. And
but you wish you could share it with everybody.
Right. I'm sure it felt great for, Mahomes to be on the game-winning Super Bowl drive last night.
Yeah.
I'm sure that feels pretty dang good.
Yeah.
You're right?
There will be an energy of him throwing that pass and that moment knowing that the completion was made.
Yep.
It's not before or after. It's that moment when that catch.
Now, when you're really good,
made.
It's completed before you throw it.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other level.
That's
of
a whole other
athlete,
level. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or a musician. You just know you just walk out and be like, I'm Billy Gibbons. Like people are. But there's all kinds of just of that. That's when the amp's on and you make that first sound. You're like,
yeah, that's cool.
All right. Yeah. That crackle pop. Milk's in the bowl. We're gonna have some breakfast up in here.
So what's happening with the band? What's happening with Octalux?
Well, we're working on IWY2. That's our own music festival we put on last year, the first one, for people with disabilities, because we wanted to. I happen to see, there's anytime there's disabilities, it's always pandering. Like, won't you please help Jimmy get a wheelchair? Or Susie learned how to walk again. That's great. But there's always some reason we need to raise money for the new van,
Right.
or let's tug on the heartstrings. But there's nothing like, hey, there's stuff for this group and that group and a flag for that group and a day for that and a parade for that. But there's nothing really other than Disability Awareness Month. Well, who gives a shit about that? That's like Arbor Day.
Right.
Tell me what Arbor Day is about. No,
Trees.
sure. I'll take your word for it. You know, how many people give a crap about Arbor Day? Nobody. Right? So we wanted, like, hey, what if there were a festival specifically for, but not exclusively for, people with disabilities to come out and have like a Thursday Night Live type thing, but for them, right? Specifically, you got a disability, you're more than welcome. Because guess what? We're not raising money. We're not raising awareness. I'm all for those things because there's
Right.
certainly causes that need money, and there's certainly things that need their awareness raised of. But guess what? I own 7 guitars. I've just raised your awareness of that. Do you give a shit?
Nope.
Nope. Well, you should because they're beautiful. But
Actually, I do care about that.
right, exactly. But right. So I wanted, and I brought it to the guys. Like, what if we did this? Right. And I wanted it to be a little taste of Lexington. I got the idea from, all right, Matthew McConaughey, because there's some bongo playing hippie dude that he loves that only plays in like Northern Africa. He don't travel, and he's like world famous for this bongo nonsense. When it's not nonsense, it's music. But, if McConaughey is willing to travel by a boat down some snake-infested water to hear this guy, then why don't we centralize it here? Kentucky has double the national average of traumatic brain injuries because us Kentuckians like to have fun, but, damage comes with fun. But if we're not raising money or raising awareness, what are we doing, right? So why don't we have something for them that's not either one of those two things, where we don't pander and we don't pull on heartstrings and we just say, hey, you got no legs, come on down. You got muscular dystrophy, come on down. You got a traumatic brain injury, come on down. Your MR, come on down. Because music is the universal language. But I wanted it to be a taste of Lexington. I didn't want it to be a rock festival.
Right.
Right? Which was a tough call because I know a lot of people in the rock community.
Right.
Right? But so we had a little bit of rap, and we had some.
I was going to say, you pulled that off.
Yeah, and we had all this stuff. And the first time, because it was August 8th, we got everything set up, and then it rained.
Yeah.
Right after we sound checked, Avid Ite, whoever that is, came out. Just wonderful help. Well, everybody, I was devastated. It took me a good month to even give a shit about it anymore after that. And I'm not usually that guy.
Right.
But I'm also the guy that if I've already thought about it, well, that means I already done it.
Well, there's a tremendous energy spend that goes into that.
Right. So we had to find a reschedule date. We find a reschedule date. Ta-da. Let's do this, right? And we had some of the people that originally couldn't do it on the original date could do it, and then everybody got sick. So we had to on the fly, right?
Yeah.
So as it turns out, ta-da, one person was at this, not just one, but one person who happened to come to this thing had his kids for the weekend. Spoiler alert, I'm assuming he's divorced, right?
Right.
Was looking for something to do with the kids, looked online, free caught his eye because we wanted to do it for free because people who live on disability have a limited amount of money. And just because I can charge them money to get in, should I? Right. So I pulled in every favor I could think of. Anyway, so he sees free, caught his eye. He sees disability, caught his eye. Happens to be a bigwig in an advocacy, like a state advocacy group, wants to help us put on IWY too. Has tons of ideas how we can better market it, how we can expand the reach of it. And another person, one of the sponsors of it, A Brighter Future, he and I have been in contact, and we're thinking about something super special, like bringing in somebody bigger than just Octalux to be like a headliner, right? So that way, because that's what he's about. He's about, let's make it an experience.
Yeah.
Just because you got As I've always tell people, cheesecake's good. Cheesecake is good. Whether you're gay, straight, black, fat, skinny, trans, 100 years old, 3 years old, disability, no arms, 50 arms, cheesecake is good.
Yeah.
Let's find the cheesecake. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're focused on. We also have Paulie Felice played IWY, and he's asked us to come down to the Dogwood. Let me find it on my phone here, and I'll tell you what it's called. The Dogwood Festival. And he wants, because he owns a music studio there. Now, that's the guy you could talk to, because he'd be like, this is a C-sharp major. But yeah. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He hates me. He doesn't hate me, but he hates me. But, so he wants his students to see a real rock and roll band, up and functioning. So it's not just a student thing, and it's not just us, but, he wants them to experience that, to say, hey, you don't have to sit around and go, come Monday, it'll be all right.
Yeah.
You can actually go out and turn it into what you want. And it's a skill that has many different uses. It's a transferable skill. You want opera, you want country, you want rap, you want pop, you want rock, you want to play the flute.
So you're down the path of IWY too.
Yeah.
When is that? Did you have dates and stuff yet?
I have a tentative date in my head. I don't know just yet.
Yeah.
Because the person I need to talk to will not be in her office till tomorrow.
Right.
But I am aiming towards that. But then whenever I pick, then we'll work the other stuff around it. And then I was talking to who was I talking to?
Yeah.
Clint wants to play the Green Lantern. Us and Swamp Hawk are going to play soon, sometime. I can't remember when. Well, I don't know if it's been set up yet, but.
So do you guys have, plans to, I don't want to say get on the road, but get on the road?
I don't know, because the music industry is so different now.
I was getting ready to say, man, don't you see the change, or how do you see the change of the music industry?
Well, I mean, that's been going on for years. I mean, think about it. Even way back in the day, the Spice Girls, whatever they were called, the Backstreet Boys, they put out an album, and then you'd see a report 6 months later, and they're getting ready to play their very first show ever. Well, how are they the biggest band on the planet if they already got an album out if they never played a show? So, at a certain point, I love playing live, and I would play live 24 hours a day, but if we're at a point now, if it's something we want to do, yes. If it's something that's good for the band, yes. If it's just something to fill in a slot, no. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because we've done all that, and I don't necessarily, we've never really had a conversation on what are we going to do this for, right? Because it's just fun. We like hanging out and we like making music. And if something more comes of it, we'll cross that bridge when it happens.
Yeah, there's always a push, it seems like, album tour, right.
tour,
right? Mm-hmm. And it seems to me that the industry is changing a little bit for that.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Online streaming, and there's other ways to monetize, right? The purpose of album tours, because you're not making any money off the album, and you tour to support it. But
right. But the most important thing is playing live. That's the thing that's going to hook people, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But we want it to be. That's why I want to take it more in we put it on. It's our thing, so we can pick up who we're playing with, and that's nothing against anybody that wants to play with them. That's just saying, hey, Joey's band has never played a show. Let's give them a shot, right? Because we've played with Susie's band 1,000 times, and that's nothing against Susie's band, because I don't even know a Susie, and I don't know a Joey either. That's not
but you're attaching more meaning to what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Because I went to shows,
which gets back to it's got to please you. Yeah.
It's got to make everybody happy, and if it's just about money, and none of us are really about that. That doesn't hurt our feelings if we get paid. Right? Nobody's gonna be like, "Oh, damn! I made $200,000 today." Son of a bitch. But
I won't do this again.
I can't believe I wasted my time. Right? But it's not like that's not the main motivation, Chase has kids, and both his kids want to see dad play drums, right?
Yeah.
Right. And that to me is more entertaining because, that's dad, and my dad died a long time ago, and he never got to see me play, but he's one of the main reasons I do play.
Yeah.
Right. So if we can put on a show and his kids can come see him play, to me, that's everything. They're like my kids.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm like, look at that. They're like doing the thing. They're doing the kid thing with their dad.
Yeah.
And I've known Chase so long. Like it doesn't register in my mind. He's a dad.
Right.
Right. How stupid is that?
That's pretty cool. Pretty cool perspective of it, right? I mean, you're achieving the rock star status, but you're connecting it to the family element or whatever.
Yeah, because how cool is it that you get to go somewhere, like especially if they get older.
Yeah,
right. They get older and they get to bring their girlfriend to this big fancy thing, and they're like, "Oh, it's my dad. It's so embarrassing." Right?
But here's his 7 CDs.
Right. I mean, sorry,
the old trench coat thing, right?
Exactly. But just to see, to see his kids, like sometimes there's like a little video of them playing drums or whatever, bongo toy things, and I'm like, oh my god, because they would have just like.
I don't think I've asked this, so we'll wind down here in just a second. So, biggest influence on you musically. I'll give you a little grace to give me more than one, but
biggest has to be Paul Stanley, period. Just because, hey, he taught me to believe in myself. He taught me don't do drugs. He taught me, how to be a front guy, and he taught me how to pick cool guitars. Because I don't have enough talent to play the guitars to say I play guitar. I play guitars to say you want to. Anyway, and just you don't have to be the person you are on stage. Off stage, you can be two different people. Because on stage, you need to be on. On. That's where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Off stage, you can be Jimmy Boring. Let's go watch 48 Hours and figure out who killed the person, right?
Right.
But on stage, you have to be something for the audience that they may. Because there's a great line in a Crosby, Stills, and Nash song that says, "When you were young, did you envy all the dancers? Did you question all the something, have all the nerve? Oh, when you were young, did you envy all the dancers? Did you something? It rhymes with dancers.
Yeah.
But they had all the nerve, right? And that ties in beautifully with the Black Sabbath line, "Sing me a song, you're a singer."
Yeah.
Right? And just be on stage, be something for somebody. There's a band here in town that we put on a show called the Show Up Blow Up Ball a bajillion years ago. And that guy was younger, like super young, and he's grown up now, and he has his own pretty successful band. And he's like, I was at the Show Up Blow Up Ball, and you just, and what a great compliment, right?
It is. Yeah, it is.
I don't do it for that. I do it for fun for me.
Right.
But man, how cool is it to know that, right?
Made an impact. You don't know who's listening.
Right. You don't know who's listening. You know who's at the show. Sometimes it's.
You got to be on.
Correct. You have to be on to drag, because maybe they're just having that day and they need somebody to go, it's all right.
I think that's probably one of the biggest lessons that, we've had a great conversation, but that's a huge lesson right there. You got to be on.
Yeah, you have to be on.
No matter the show.
Right. And because guess what? The show must go on, as they say.
Yeah.
But more importantly, some people are leaders and some people are followers. And the world needs both to make the thing work. And guess what? Somebody might just need the balls. Maybe they get little teeny balls. Come on, you can do it. And all of a sudden they grow into big balls, right? Because you can say, hey, it ain't a crime to be good to yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So go out and make the art. Go out and make your songs, even if they suck. I want them to suck even more. Because you're going to go out and you're going to suck, and people are like, oh my God, they suck. But the more you go through that, the less suck is going to be there. And all of a sudden you find this beautiful strand of whatever, right?
That's a lesson. Even on this podcast, we keep hearing that same thing. Just show up. Just show up.
Yeah, you just got to be there. Cause
keep going.
That's half the battle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. All right. So where do all of our listeners, where are the throngs, the literal
Throngs.
tens of people listening?
The tens of thousands of people listening.
Yes. Where will they find you?
Anywhere on social media that says Octalux. I have anything that's possibly due. I think we have an OnlyFans. I'm not even sure. I swear to God, if it's a social media site and I find out about it, I immediately sign us up just in case.
Yeah.
TikTok, of course, all these are at Octalux. All the streaming services, Apple, Spotify, Zimbabwe.com, whatever it is, you can find us anywhere. I'm the main, because Chase and Tony and Clint are not like, let's be the social media guys.
Yeah.
So I get that job.
Yeah.
And I try to post pretty often, but I don't always post all that often. I don't always post on the same platform. So maybe I have a problem being direct. I don't know. But, you're going to get a little, like if it's a big thing like the IWY, we had Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and we had our own TikTok page. So if it's something huge, you're going to know about it solely because I'm going to tie it all in. But if it's me going, what's a pretty chord? This is my favorite chord on the album. Whatever app it's open, I'm going to put that on there. Yeah. Because that's not important, right? But it's something important like, hey, we got a new show or we got a new album. Here's the new artwork. Hey, if we want to win a chance to win this guitar, whatever. Not that we've ever given away a guitar, but we might one day. Yeah, nudge, nudge. Things like that. Hey, big announcement coming soon. I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to say, hey, here's the big announcement that I've been wanting to tell you guys about. Yeah. My favorite chord is this one. I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to go, you could win this guitar if you donate 10 cans of whatever, corned beef to Tanya. I don't know who Tanya is either. I make up names. Yeah, that's all right. I'm a name maker upper. Listen, Amen to Oblivion is a great record. Thank you. Yeah, it really is. It's cool to hear the history from, and what it has meant to you to create it from top to bottom. I've listened to it. I'm going to listen to it again on the way home because it's just a cool song. Thank you. From, let's just say how would I say this? A local artist. Let's say it that way. Every download means something to these bands and to these folks. Live music is a big deal. Supporting the artist is a big deal. It's not always easy to go out and hear a rock show or to go wherever the band's being played or to, you just sometimes don't feel like doing it, or it may not be your jam. Right. Right. That's just the truth of the matter. It may not be your jam, but the bigger lesson is if you knew how much it meant to the fine fellows of Octalux just to hear part of what they're doing and to share that, that really gets multiplied across multiple platforms. For sure. I mean, like one of my favorite things to do is on TikTok, you'll find somebody and they're like, you can tell they've played for a day and a half and they're like, and I always make a point to like and like, hey, keep it up. It's sounding good because guess what? I remember being that guy. And I'm not too far from that guy now, but I'm a little bit. You too could end up like me in 25 years. That's right. But I want them to be encouraged, and it's easy for them to go, guitar. Yeah, well, no shit. Yeah. They'll figure that out. They'll get there. They'll get there. And if I just say, well, guitar, well, okay, I've added nothing to that. But if I go, hey, I started out, I like that riff, right? Even if the riff's undone, or like, that's really cool, you know, or you know what? If it were me, I'd go to the A right there just because I think it might be cool. Just throw them a little nugget of whatever. They might even know what the A is. So they wind up on an F sharp and they're like, that's the coolest thing ever. Right? Yep. So anybody can be a dick. And trust me, I've been a dick to plenty of people. Shut up. More to come. Shut up over there. More to come. But, I also get a kick out of just, hey, I remember being that guy, right? Yeah. And, that's part of your message, though, man. Not the humble brag, but for real, for years, probably for a decade, on my birthday, I go out and I purposely find somebody to buy them a present that I don't know. Yeah. Because I want to be that weird stranger that shows up like, here's your Wendy's lunch, bye, and you never see me again. Yeah. I bought some kid some tab book years ago, and he was like, he didn't know what to do, right? Yeah. Then I figured I probably shouldn't do that to kids because I'd probably get arrested. So Usually it's gas. Let me pay for your gas.
Yeah.
Let me buy your lunch at a public place here. I don't have to know you. But I like doing that because if I can put out some good,
Yep.
maybe somebody else is putting out some good too.
Like a real disruptor in society.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need.
Well, I don't know about that, but that's what I try to do just because, trust me, I can be a dick if I need to.
All right. Let's roll out for a little bit of a song here to close our show. Pick you pick one.
You pick.
No, man, you pick one. What?
Oh, man.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't tell you the thing. We're going to close with Plasma Burn. Hi.
Okay.
See, you tried to read my mind over there, but you didn't. This is the coolest thing. This is the coolest thing, and I swear to God, I'll shut up. So, some years ago, 2017, there was a band that I was huge influence on me. Huge. It's not Kiss, right? So I like, what are these buckers doing now? So I find out their names because I knew who the fuck was in the band.
Yeah.
And I look up their lead singer and I send him a message like, are you the guy that was in that band? He's like, yeah. I strike up a conversation, right? I was like, dude, you do not know how many times I listened to that album. You know, I'm like gushing all over this guy, right? He's not even in the band anymore. He's doing some weird other thing. And I was like, dude, if you guys ever get back together, please do it in Lexington. You can use my gear. I'll buy you things. Just please do it, right? So this goes on for a couple years back and forth. You know, hey, man, just want to say I'm super fan. Did you guys ever make T-shirts? And like, no, we didn't make T-shirts. But so we don't know each other. But I swear to God, I'm getting to a point. So turns out he got the band back together, right?
Yeah.
To record a new album. Now, I don't know if I had anything to do with that.
Well, let's take credit for it.
But not only that, I was like, hey, how cool would it be if you sang on Octalux's new album since you influenced Octalux? He did it for free, and he said he would sing on the whole thing if I wanted him to. He's on the chorus of Plasma Burn and Buzz Up Some Heavy Smoke. His name is Mark Emmert of Sugartooth. Sold my fortune. Boom.
Yep.
Yes. Also, Tim from Kicking Heralds on Buzz Up Some Heavy Smoke, but Plasma Burn. Just
let's hear it. Let's hear Plasma Burn. Let's get through the chorus and hear that.
Yes, because that whole album is a masterpiece.
Here we go.
And their new album's great. Volume 3.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, how awesome is it to know that I listened to all that whole album and it took so much influence from that album. So much. That and Mother's Day Out. You probably never heard of them. They were in Mortal Kombat. They were the original rap rock band, but that's beside the point. The rest of that album is gold. And it turns out I was friends with the guitar player for Mother's Day Out for years on Facebook. I just never knew his name. I was like, are you that dude? And he's like, yeah. Why? I'm like, oh my God. And he was going to be on the album, but something came up and he could not do it. Noiseheads, Nick in Florida. he was super busy. He couldn't be on it. Tim from Kicking Harold, I met on Snapchat, or not Snapchat, but TikTok. But Mark,
That's awesome.
dude, I never so happy.
You can achieve it.
Oh yeah, because all I did was ask.
Yeah.
All they can say is no.
Listen, man, I appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you asking me and letting me come in and
Yeah.
ramble and babble on about Octalux. Because
Maybe we do it again when you get the festival planned, and
for sure,
let's do some promotion of that.
heck yeah, because I want it to be an annual thing in Lexington that Lexington is known for. That is a sample of Lexington music and culture and food, specifically for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
Because, and only because, they don't usually get anything. As I said, it's easy to talk about breast cancer. Everybody loves tits.
Yeah.
Your mom has them, your sister has them, your girlfriend has them.
Yeah.
Hopefully you only like them on the third one. But, right? But the point is, that's an easy sell. That's sexy. It's not sexy to sell. I got a traumatic brain injury, and sometimes I need help in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Right?
Man, let's do a show on that.
For sure.
That'd be
100%.
awesome.
Thank you so
Man.
much for
Absolutely.
having me on here.
All right, man.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you next time.
All right. Later.
All right. See you.
Bye.